What's up, guys, and welcome to Town Hall, episode number 43, the Heroes of the Storm podcast series. Those guys are muted because they're having a giggle fest over there. And, I'm Solid Jake, and I'm joined by my giggly co-host and our guest, Mr. Syracuse. But before we get to him, let's go down the line. And starting with Coobs, you guys can now speak. Yes, we can hear you.
Wow, that's exciting. What do I do with the speaking thing?
Why don't you tell us what you've been up to?
Oh boy, this past week it's not that exciting. I casted some stuff, Kings of the Storm.
Did some stuff.
On Saturday, and then aside from that, playing lots of Heroes and GVG. Opened up a bunch of packs today, and I think I opened 40, and I got one Legendary. So half the amount of Legendaries that I should have gotten, and Jake gets like 6 times the amount. So needless to say, I'm like a little salty, but I'm doing good
There's
otherwise.
a smaller concentration of legendaries in this card pack, so the ratio of you getting legendaries should be smaller per 40. Just want to throw
Oh
that
no,
out there.
but that
Did
explains
Zoya
why he
just
gets
drop
5.
some math on all of us?
Boom. Get GBG'd.
It doesn't explain why Jake gets so many. He
He
opened like
needs
40
them.
packs and he got 5 legendaries.
Jake needs them because he's bad. You're good. You got this.
Okay,
bro.
okay, all right.
That is
I'll
some
take
luck.
that. I'll take that.
All right, Mr. Shambam, what's up with you?
Oh my. So I've been playing. I casted on Sunday, and then I played a ton of Heroes Sunday, and then yesterday. But man, I've been getting the worst luck in Heroes lately. I've been having so many people that are just like, "Well, you didn't help me with this one thing, so I'm gonna just AFK now." And it's been driving me crazy.
There's a lot of new people in the game. There's a lot
Oh man. Oh man. So playing Heroes has been really kind of drawn on my salt lately, and I've been like, anytime I play it now, I'm just like getting really instantly salty whenever I start like just getting one person who makes one little mistake. I don't air it. I don't, type in like you're an idiot, but I'm just like, oh god, this guy's an idiot. Click, click, click. I hope we win. It's like playing with Zoya all over again.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But no, I've been pretty well. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
Well, Mr. Zoya, how's
For a
GVG?
while, Hearthstone's fun. Syracuse, what's that creature behind you?
That is my little chihuahua that I found on the streets named Taco.
No, that's a Yoshi.
chihuahua.
That's Yoshi.
It's a Yoshi.
Oh,
No,
the
it's to his right.
Oh, there's another animal.
Yeah,
It keeps moving around and it's
It's a
freaking me out.
chihuahua.
Make it move, Syracuse. Move, dog.
little dog.
Look
in the
at
back.
it.
Oh, it's alive.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm,
Board
like,
of WoW.
staring at the replay.
Hearthstone's fun. That's it.
Board of WoW?
Yeah.
Never thought I'd hear the day.
Syracuse,
Board
we
of-
have a quest for you. Before we bring you back on the show for another time, we want you to teach your dog to sit on your shoulder like a parrot. And we want it to sit on your shoulder for
That's
the
it.
entire show.
Yes.
That's all you got to do, bro.
That's your quest.
No.
I could do it for maybe 30 seconds, then he'll get hyper and just jump off. So
Well, that's your quest. And, today our quest is to talk about Heroes of the Storm and our new patch. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're talking about the undocumented stealth
Can
changes.
Syracuse introduce himself first?
Oh, well, I guess we didn't
Well,
do
I
that.
thought you were just gonna do like, here's what we're gonna talk about, but after that,
Yeah.
man, we gotta. So why don't you continue?
Man, Town
Yeah,
Hall,
that
we
was
are
Jake's
so
plan all along.
professional. Let's
That was
continue
Jake's
being
plan
this
all along.
professional.
Right. Yeah.
So, okay, Syracuse, go ahead since Jared stopped me because that was the plan. But
Should have just rolled with it.
yeah, nothing really other than tournaments lately. Just tournaments, finals, tournaments, and then Jaina.
Who are you? Let the viewers know, man, that they don't know
Oh.
you.
I'm Syracuse. I'm the range player from Glorious Gaming. On Glorious.
Now, do you
Yeah,
have to say glorious
It's an
like with them up?
exclamation mark.
Yeah, that's what I'm at.
Glorious.
Glorious!
Glorious!
It's so hard not saying Glorious Gaming because at first we were gonna be Glorious Gaming, and then everyone's like, "No, we got to be Glorious!" with exclamation point. So I'll still get stuck on it.
Was
Yep,
there like a
the
long
range player.
discussion
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, yeah.
well, the
it's like-
exclamation point. I mean, just the G plus as like your
Yeah.
acronym is really good. So that's like really like memorable.
So I'm a range player playing tournaments every weekend. You guys can check me out there.
Well, yeah, we've seen you play time and time again, and well, to continue my introduction of the show before we introduced our guest, thanks, Jared. We're talking about the undocumented changes. We're talking about the meta changes in the game, our eSports update of all our tournaments, and Cooby's questions. And to segue into that, Mr. Syracuse, you've been playing in these eSports updates. Here's where I'd say introduce yourself, but let's jump right on into our actual discussion. Well, let's start with the stealthy changes because that's what we have written here in Reddit as our first topic. So, they released the patch notes, and the patch notes kind of cover everything that's happening in the game in theory, like all the changes being made in theory. But meanwhile, there's little things like as soon as we boot it up, Dragonshire. Oh look, it's actually now Bruisers and Siege Giants. That's one thing, but they're called that. And then there's the Knights in the bottom of the map, and those Knights are now Giants. But that's like just like the very front thing. There's way more than that.
Other way around. Those Giants are now Knights.
The Giants.
That's
are now
what I meant.
Knights.
The Knights are now Bruisers. So the Giants became Knights, then became Bruisers.
Right.
Well, they did that because on the new map coming out, they're not Knights. They're like samurai wielding dudes. And that's why they're doing that change.
Yeah, and I mean it's smart. It's it doesn't really kind of fit what Bruiser means, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
And that change feels good. But there's a lot of other changes. So one of the bigger ones that was discovered is experience from minions in general is now higher. And,
way higher. Way higher. And I was actually experimenting with this last night without you guys knowing when we were playing. I was actually just kind of walking away from like a creep wave and watching like when that would go away and how much difference it would be if I was actually in it. And I was watching it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount of experience per wave. And that's actually, just to go quickly into something, I was talking to Dreadnought, and he was down bot lane at one point, and I was like, oh, Dreadnought's there to defend that fort. And he's like, nah, it's just soaking experience. You really need every single wave now. It's so incredibly important.
Has anyone posted the exact number change yet? I haven't seen it. Because anywhere I've looked and anyone I want to talk to, they don't know what the experience gain was before.
No, we need Squishy back in our community. We need like a Squishy bat signal because that guy used to crunch all the numbers. But he's busy with school. He should probably just drop out and do heroes numbers for us.
Busy playing WoW, actually.
Oh my goodness.
This guy's on it more than me.
That's disgusting.
There's so many more numbers in WoW, that's why.
So I don't know the stats at all. I don't think anybody has posted it. We would have seen it by now. But it's noticeable, like how significant it is. And we actually weren't aware about this prior to the tournament. Like some of the teams were, but as casters, we actually didn't know about this Saturday going into it. And we were really like on Cursed Hollow, like Symbiote was soaking as much as possible, ignoring tributes and soaking and going for this strategy where they were, I guess this kind of going to the eSports update, but they were going for the strategy where they're trying to wait out to level 10 for the third tribute and just trying to get that experience lead. And it really explains their idea behind that strategy. But Syracuse, were you guys aware of this change prior to the event?
I'm going to be real honest. No, we were not. We were not.
See,
we had just played Symbiote like a game before the tournament. And we're like, wow, they're soaking like really hard. They're just like giving up all the curses. It's like a new strat to do. I'm like, this is really interesting. And we had no idea. So.
So you were saying you were talking with other pros too, who've slightly noticed it at least. Well, I know you were. Faye, you were practicing with her that one night. Did you guys actually come down with any hard numbers or anything, or even remote approximations?
No.
Damn.
We just noticed
really
it.
I really want to know.
Yeah, me too. I'm really curious about the number change.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like it's noticeable when you once you realize it's been changed. It's like, wow, actually, holy crap.
Yeah, it's a big change to curse. Like the curse map is so much different with that change.
It's
back to old
drastic.
school giving up curses.
Yeah, it's drastic, and it's kind of cool, but at the same time, you now have towers which give experience. So like that adds to the effect of being in lane rather than just soaking. So now you have the additional experience you get from minions and the additional experience you get from just taking out towers, not necessarily destroying the town hall, the fort, the keep. So overall, like just in pacing in terms of like
I noticed that little town hall thing.
Oh, I always say it. I say it in my cast too. Oh, the town hall has fallen here. I love. They officially called it a town hall in the patch notes. I'm using that, man. It's great. But yeah, it's. In my opinion, I think it feels good. The new XP and the XP spread out throughout each base. But what are your guys' thoughts? Let's start with you, Corey.
that overall, that's fine. Are we talking overall about stealth changes though?
No, we're just on
that
the
one in
topic of the changes to experience on minions and the experience change to the forts and stuff right now. Sorry.
I'm not sure. Like, no, I don't think I like it that much. It was okay where it was, and now it's just it kind of makes the early game a little bit more boring. I guess less diversified in terms of strategy. Like if what Symbiote was doing is like actually the optimal way to play the game, I'm not a fan then. I mean, like, not to say that was wrong of them to do. Obviously, you got to exploit that. But like, if you have to just soak and ignore the actual objective, and you have no options but to do that, I'd rather see them go back to what they had.
See, that's interesting you put it that way because you say ignore the objective. Nobody really ignored the objective. They would still send 1 to 2 people. It's just that if they saw like a change of 5 people, then they would continue to soak. But what I saw a lot during the C9 Vortex games was a lot of skirmishes around the curse instead of actual hard engagements.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more interesting because now you actually have to think about teams that not only excel in 5v5 combat, but now you need to have small little synergies within your teams in order to actually get those curses.
It seems like their entire goal with these changes is to eliminate the roaming 5, like constantly, like the constant roaming 5. And we saw a change in that, and as people learn how to maximize the efficiency of this kind of thing, I think it's going to be pretty cool because it's no longer optimal to just go to Curses 5 at all. Mm-hmm. And if you can afford to not do that, it's beneficial. So it creates harder decisions to make on your team.
A lot of aggression too in the early game. Taking people out of lane and ganking, it's worth way more now. You take a tower and you take experience, that's big.
Yeah.
That's really big now. So the aggressive early games are really strong. Kerrigan is back to being a good pick, like a really, really strong pick. Like picks are banned all the time. And you got to watch out. Like if you get these early game comps that just can't fight, you're ruined. They're just going to snowball it. So
that's a great point. Jared, what are your thoughts?
I think it's bad for solo queue and newer players.
Yeah.
We already see a problem with people just like sitting in lane forever, and once people realize how like now experience going from lane is this important, they're gonna have that one Nazebo pushing bot lane for like 20 minutes now, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like for the competitive scene, I think it's fine. I liked all the games we saw this weekend and stuff, but for the amateur and newer players, I don't know. I think it's gonna have a worse impact, but overall, I like it.
Yeah.
But was it an issue before?
Was what an issue before?
Like it was like what they had before this patch. Was it a problem?
And sometimes, yeah, you have those people that just sit in lane forever. And
No. I'm talking about like the competitive, like what we were seeing in the meta.
In terms of experience per lane, was it an issue before?
Yeah. You guys are like, oh yeah, it's great, but like, what was wrong with it? Like, why did they change it?
Let me step in and just like give my thoughts on this. Before, there was always a very obvious, okay, they go to the curse. Okay, they go to the curse. Okay, they contest the tribute. They just do it, and they're required to do it, and because it's the optimal decision every time. This diversifies that and creates more interesting play, in theory.
I don't know about that.
That's what I'm hoping for,
But what we saw SMG doing was like actually just ignoring the tribute.
And that's their take on it after a few days of playing on it.
I know, but it got him pretty far.
It creates equal, yeah, but it also creates equal. I mean, because nobody's going to completely ignore the tribute, right? Like if nobody goes to the tribute, then somebody's going to send somebody to the tribute, and then all of a sudden you're going to start spiraling into a fight. Nobody's going to be like, whatever. The tribute is literally not worth sending even one person, because even then you'll get some sort of action out of it. But now you have a whole bunch of lane aggression going on too. So I think it splits up the action a lot. Whether or not that's going to lead to more passive gameplay, I don't think so either, because you want to be aggressive and you want to start taking out towers as soon as possible too. Yep. So I think it's just leveled out the amount of trade-offs that didn't really exist before. Kind of like exactly like what used to happen in Haunted Mines when you had like 5 different jungle camps that you could grab all at once or go into the mines. I think it's something that's actually equal in terms of. Now Jared's point's pretty true too, and I didn't really think about it that much. It's that new people are just going to sit in lane a little bit more, especially if they see more competitive play, or competitive players are only staying in lane. But I don't really think it's a bad thing.
I mean,
I like the tower change. The tower change.
Yeah, the tower change.
Like, I like it because that gives an extra option. Like it makes things a little bit more diverse in terms of what's happening in lanes. I'm not so sure I enjoy the whole soaking thing, but
I think it makes it a little bit more dynamic what you do, because before it was just like get camps and soak and don't do anything, just try not to die. now if you get aggressive and get a kill, it's actually worth something now. You can get a tower, you can get minion experience off of it. Like, so you have to make the trade. You either get like camps or you go aggressive and take towers.
Like
That's a
early
good
game,
point.
you get a kill and then they miss a full creep wave because of that kill. Like
Yeah.
Yep.
that
Yep.
actually
That's big.
adds up a lot. Like
Even
really
then, I mean, you looked at stuff that C9 Vortex was doing. I don't know if this actually happened too much in Kings of the Storm, but I think actually maybe C9 Maelstrom was doing it. They were holding back their creeps so that they could be in advantage positions
Yeah,
to get
SMG does
good
it too,
ganks
yeah.
in too. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
called, like,
these are,
what, wave
these are
stalling or
people
whatever?
coming up with, people are coming up with different ideas on how to attack laning problems, and not only that, but now look at something like denying, where you're kicking somebody out of their lane so that they can't deal with things anymore, like having like a really good, I don't know, Sergeant Hammer or something, or some really good, like somebody who could just push somebody out of the lane. Not so much just to really push out the wave, but you don't kill any of the enemy creeps, but you just kill the enemy and let the enemy creeps do the work for you. Now you're in a really good position to actually take really big level leads that the enemy has to respond to.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you
That also
entirely.
creates that dynamic that I think hasn't really existed so far.
Yeah, you get interesting strategies as well. Like we already talked about how you can have like the synergy within like the 2v2 fights and stuff, but you also start thinking about like lane synergy, like who's going to pair well with Jaina against this hero in
Yep.
bot lane and stuff like that.
That's been
Adds a
happening.
lot of strategy. It's
Out
really
of-
cool. I like it.
Yeah. So other undocumented changes. What other ones stood out to you guys the most? I mean, there's actually quite a few.
I'm blanking on like the biggest one for me was the experience one. I'm blanking on
Turn
most of
change.
those.
Um,
Can't
I-
was changes.
That is
Turn
undocumented.
changes.
The turret change was in the no.
Was it?
I think
It was.
I think it was.
It was something we knew was coming from BlizzCon because we all noticed it in the BlizzCon build. I think
Yeah.
it was in the patch notes.
It was
though.
like a one-line thing. They didn't hype it up at all.
Yeah.
I think that
Okay.
was the difference. We were like, oh, no one's really talking
Okay.
about this, but
But
it's
it's huge.
actually huge.
It's
Like,
huge.
All right, different thing. So I don't know, and I have zero numbers to actually. I would really hope that somebody who's data mined this actually has any information on this. Are creeps slower? Are creeps stronger? Or is something different with creeps other than just the experience boost? Because I've been seeing like 6 catapults showing up at palaces now instead of like
Yeah,
the
I've noticed
normal
that too.
where it used
Yeah,
to be
it's
like
really
2 or 3. And not only that, but I've been almost killed
You're
by
right.
creeps like 3 or 4 times now. It
No,
feels
you're
like
right.
they're stronger.
I think they probably did buff them.
And I don't have any data mine numbers or anything that, but the creeps feel different.
No.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that
Actually, they
up
do.
because it's been something like I never noticed until you said about it. Yeah,
it's like
the
you just don't
catapults.
think about it.
There's like
but
5 or 6
yeah.
there. Like it's like, oh wow, that's a huge creep wave. Well, this is all
Stacked
or
up,
something. But yeah, that's
Like-
a good point.
constantly,
Hey.
almost. Go ahead.
Oh, I
Syracuse.
was just gonna say, the best change, in my opinion, is the core. Though, if we're talking about the changes to the core,
Yes.
I really, it's Blizzard's way to nerf SMG, but it's not gonna work because SMG is amazing.
It's really cool to hear that from another team, but
But you
I don't
overall you like it? Like you think that
I
the
like it
game
a lot.
feels
It's
better?
bad for solo queue,
So okay,
but-
so on ladder, on average, my games seem a little bit longer. Are your custom games longer when you guys are scrimming against other teams and playing it? I mean, the tournament, the last Kings of the Storm tournament, the matches really weren't that long. But what are your
Yeah.
scrims like?
It depends. They're about maybe at most like 5 minutes longer.
That's-
SMG games, like when we scrim SMG, they're a lot they're a lot longer than they used to be because usually SMG just pushes cores. They get a keep and they just pushed a core before. Like you were stuck in your base, just making sure they don't backdoor. But with the changes, it's only about 5 minutes at most.
That's
The
great.
only change was the shield, right?
no,
Shield?
it's flat shields, flat core health. Both of them went way up to the point.
Okay, I thought it was just shield.
And then they reduced the rates of them by a lot. So now,
Yeah.
after 21 minutes, the new core is weaker than the old core. But until then, it's
Yep.
like it starts off like here, where the old core was like down here, and then they slowly steady up and then cross. But the problem is, yeah, here comes my graph, ready for where the intersection is somewhere off screen. Anyway, the problem I have with it though is that post 20 gameplay, especially in pub games, makes me slam my head on my desk.
Why is that?
I'm gonna be
Because people
completely
like don't
honest.
even
I'm gonna
drag
be.
it
I
out,
don't
you
care. Like this
No,
is
just
PJ
no
Salt
fluff.
coming out
No
here.
fluff.
This is no fluff. PJ Salt. People are. They don't understand that you can kill the core like after 21 minutes. So it'll be like, oh man, for the enemy team, we just killed all of them. We're all 5 still up. Better push top fort, even though
Yep.
2 keeps are down. It's like And then Resurgence and everything else, like level 20, post level 20 is just not done yet. I don't care who says what. If you can get to 21 minutes, you're all level 20, and guess what? The playing field is very, very minute in between levels.
Yeah.
The biggest gaps that you can ever get are when you're a talent ahead, and that's how you win big team fights. But when you're post level 20, it's like everybody's on equal footing, and everybody's got Nerf bats. It's like, I swear to God, I'm gonna hit you with this Nerf bat until you die. Oh, you got Resurgence. It's like
Yeah.
nobody can actually do anything.
Yeah.
It was almost a resurgence buff. Like they nerfed it,
Right?
but the core change was like a resurgence buff. So when resurgence gets changed, it'll slow down and solo
They
queue.
just need to delete it from the game. Corey, Jake,
Yeah.
and I had a game where we only lost because they had 3 resurgences. Just get it out of the game. Like, what the hell, man?
It's
so bad.
So
It's-
I
it's-
mean,
it's-
we've talked about Resurge again and again and again, but again, we had our interview with Matt Cooper. Me and C Steve sat down with him, and he's pretty much said this is the Band-Aid fix, and they were tossing around a few different ideas, but what they want to do is make it so it's not so uniform. At the very least, they said that they really know that's an issue where you can have 4 people that are like come back to life at the exact same time frame. They kind of want to make something that staggers it so you don't get as much value out of it. Like they want to really discourage resurgence compositions, and they're looking for a way to do that so that's not a thing. They like the talent's idea, and they like the idea of it existing, but the idea of resurgence composition is like the last thing they want to see. So they're well aware that's a thing, and they are actively looking into it, so at least we can, you just kind of relax and be like, okay, at least they're well aware that that's a problem. But it sucks right now. I mean, the minute nerf.
Let me complain,
nice.
Jake.
The minute nerf is nice, and it sucks still, but at least we can be pretty certain that they're going to fix it.
They definitely know.
What other big stealth changes were there? I'm spacing on most of them.
Nova got nerfed.
It's not stuff. God, I hate you. That was.
Get out, Corey.
That was
Get
disgusting.
out. How
there
dare you?
I feel like there might have been some stealth changes to heroes.
Actually, it's pretty funny. When everybody was having frame rate, I don't know if anybody caught this. I'm gonna just point out that I'm a hilarious genius via Twitter. When they mentioned that there was a massive frame rate drop due to shadow effects or shading effects, I said, "Is that a shadow buff or is that a shadow nerf?"
Terrible. But in general, I think the bigger changes were just what we talked about: experience, core health. I'm really interested to hear more about everyone else's thoughts on the core health. We talked about it a bit. Syracuse, glad to hear you like it. We experienced it from a casting perspective this weekend, and it seemed great there. Like Kev said, on ladder, people are afraid to attack the core. And that on ladder, it feels worse in that regard because it's just like these games seem like 40 minutes long. But overall, I think people will adapt. And
gotta use the Dragonite to kill all 3 keeps, man. Gotta do it.
I feel like people just don't know. Like they know it's stronger, but they just don't know it's weaker past 21 minutes. And once they do, it might change.
It's the problem, I think, and I've been saying this for a long time, is that keeps go down, bam, nothing, paper.
Yeah.
The palace, all of a sudden, it's like this giant, impregnable fortress. It's like it's like you just took out like Stormwind, and now all of a sudden you have to go through, I don't know, an entire planet in order to kill. It doesn't make sense how strong it is compared to the keeps that are right before it.
That is true.
Yeah. Well, I think that covers the important undocumented changes. Any other things coming out?
I can't think of any. Illidan feels stronger, even though it was only 10%. He feels way stronger randomly. Me and Soldier and Florang were trying to figure out what exactly changed. Like, there's got to be something stealth buff.
No, that 10%, the 10% was everything.
Well, while we're on the topic, are we okay with like why do they do stealth changes? Like, why can't something like that be?
All right, hold on here. Now, guys, we're gonna go into this one of these little. I know a lot about big project kind of things. Getting a team, especially because Blizzard Heroes is 150 people right now.
Yeah.
Getting one person, and I think it's all on Nate. I honestly think it is because he's the one who always posts all the patch notes and everything. Getting one person to go to everybody and be like, all right, excuse all the internal builds. the last build we pushed live, what are all the changes
Yeah.
that you made? It's got to be so hard. It's not. I really doubt that it's intentional. It's just that
Okay.
it's an alpha,
Okay,
so
yeah,
they're
right.
going
I
through
think I'm-
billions of changes.
Excuse
Yeah.
my computer illiteracy, but there's no way to just, at least for the numbers, the actual variable numbers in the game, there's no way to just run a script to compare
But-
last patch to this patch just to see the number changes, because
There-
those are the ones that
there
like, people
might
are
be,
actually concerned with.
But the game's an alpha, and like they're changing so much constantly, and they're testing so many things internally. Guaranteed.
yeah, but that's why you just take whatever you're about to push live.
But it's not even just
say,
numbers, though,
compare
right?
this. But
Like-
that's what's important. That's like those are the stealth changes that people don't want to find out about 2 months later.
Yeah.
Like, Stitches like got like a random nerf to this thing. Like, we've been playing with him the whole time. Like, yeah, it doesn't feel as good. And it's just like, is it people's opinions changing? Is it just like, crowd mentality changing?
I think
is it actually
I
a
think
change?
day to day on an alpha, like, do you really have the time to go through every single little change and look
Right.
at every single little number?
Okay,
Because I'm
that's
sure
why I'm
they
saying
change-
run a script. I'm not.
No,
saying
that's,
someone-
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the script, even the script itself, you'd still see thousands and thousands of changes. I'm sure.
All right,
Oh, okay,
Blizzard,
all right.
you heard Cooby. Step it up.
All right, that's why I'm saying it's probably not something that's actually feasible. Just I was sort of
No,
seeing
listen
if it
here.
was
If
something-
Cooby's
This is a call out on Spirian.
if
Nate,
Cooby's-
get your
yeah.
shit together, man.
Spirian, it's just.
I think honestly, given all the changes that he does record, I am because crap. You could ask me what
that's a
I
good
did
point.
last week, and I'd be like, I don't know.
Kev, how often does Cooby speak out in disapproval? Not that often.
Oh, so he's under the bus.
No, I am shutting this down.
No, I agree with Kev. That makes sense. I hadn't thought
Unacceptable.
I understand it from that perspective, but it just.
I mean, it's
I-
frustrating, and we're all frustrated by it. But at the same time, it's they're doing a
it
lot
makes
of
sense.
changes.
Yeah.
When it gets to an actual competitive sport, and when like we're actually getting like lots of money on the line, I'm sure there's not going to be a single change
Right.
that's not
Yeah.
going to go
Right,
undocumented.
but again, the game's an alpha.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot more changes
still
happening
change.
than there
League of
should.
Legends still has like shadow or whatever stealth nerfs and buffs
Yeah.
and whatnot too.
Yeah.
Not that much. Not that.
Yeah.
They're
Some-
pretty good at
sometimes
documenting.
things go through.
that big of a change though. Like the experience creep wave thing is pretty
True.
big.
It's true.
Yeah, it's a massive change. I'm not going to deny that, but I'm just saying that like it's hard to get every change that you do
Right.
between patches.
Well,
No, that makes sense.
Alpha problems.
Speaking of changes, let's talk about the changes in the meta and pretty much everything that's happened in this tournament scene this past weekend, because the meta
okay.
has shifted a
Let's-
decent amount.
Let's see if we can remember what we predicted last week, because we had only played on the patch for a couple hours at that point.
Okay, you said
Yeah.
no Jaina. You said no Jaina at all.
No. What did I say? Two games of Jaina, and she would lose twice, and I think I was completely right, or at least from the games that I casted on Saturday. So
I think the biggest thing we predicted was the double warrior meta dying out, which for the most part through the games we saw is true.
Yeah.
well,
Double
yeah,
warrior is
I mean,
gone.
That's just
It's
a
gone.
direct result of there not being enough good warriors.
And
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
so
I think that's fair.
we saw Nazebo used quite a bit. We saw Illidan used.
Didn't
a
see that
lot.
one coming.
Illidan?
No, Nazebo.
Oh,
Zebo's been god tier the entire time, man.
Nazebo's always been
Gotta
good,
open your eyes.
but yeah, it was interesting. Illidan, I think we all saw coming because of how if you played on this patch, Illidan just feels so good. Like strong Illidan play. I mean, he's still a very mechanical character, very hard to execute properly. But if you're a good Illidan, like it really makes a huge difference.
It's cool to see some heroes rising and falling just based on like, okay, the fact that Nova's not here. It's like, oh, now all of a sudden
Yeah,
these
it's great.
yeah.
It's
XYZ
Demon Hunter,
heroes are
up
now
here.
all of a sudden like usable. Like, okay, then it makes you kind of look back like, was that really a good idea in the first place? Because like this one hero takes away this much diversity, which is like more than one hero. So then it makes you take a step back and say, maybe we
Falstad
shouldn't have a
basically
hero
jumped
like this.
from like with the Tassadar nerf as well. But Falstad became like one of the highest priority heroes because of the Nova nerf.
he's got to now.
You know,
Yeah.
it's that one character getting buried to the ground really like changed it up a lot. That's I don't know if that's a good or a
Pretty
bad
much.
thing.
Yeah,
But-
because you want to look at it from one perspective as saying like it's nice to have a counter available, like counter picks, all that type of stuff. But then it's like that's one hero. Only one hero is really like that in the game, so it's a little bit too sway, I guess. I don't. It's tough to say.
Yeah, Falstad, the changes to movement, he feels so much smoother now
Oh,
too. And the
yeah.
Yeah.
he's awesome. Like I always complained about that. I hated playing him because he felt clunky. That feels great.
He's
Yeah,
an
good job.
agile birdie.
Raynor feels really good now too because you can get the really good auto attack kind of like strafe and attack kind of thing going down really quickly, like the old like stop and shoot, the scoot and shoot.
Stutter
Super pretty.
Shoot.
So they're
Scoot and
they're
shoot?
talking about reworking Raynor since he's the first thing players see when they play the tutorial. They're talking about rebuilding him, and I'm just excited for him to get stim pack and to be able to just really stutter
has
step.
stim
Like
pack.
That's just tough.
he has.
It's called Adrenaline Rush.
inspired-
Yeah,
the
adrenaline rush.
That's the exact opposite of Stim
Yeah.
Pack.
Well, yeah,
It gives
okay.
you health.
Stim Pack takes your health away and makes you faster.
Yeah.
Sir, Corey, get out.
I want
Go.
him to
How dare
actually
you.
get stim and stutter around, like at like really fast pace. Like I want him to be like, need a healer with him kind of deal. Like I want him to be like the Marine.
Yeah. He's already. I would really like if they got rid of that dinky little rifle he's got, and he's got more like his standard Gauss rifle. I don't know.
His sniper rifle.
He's got like a sniper rifle right now.
No,
The
that's
Gauss
what
rifle.
he
Oh no,
uses.
the Gauss rifle is the like
ones
the
on Marines.
the
Oh,
one
okay,
that
okay.
Marines only have. Yeah, I don't know why I went into automatopoeia for that, but I wanted to. And yeah, I mean he still feels pretty much like a Marine. He just relies on auto attack, and that's what I like about him already. I just want him to change.
What if they just changed his auto attack animation to being a triple shot? It was the same exact thing, but it was just that's it.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
So it's just an animation thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. I just want him to feel more like a Terran Marine.
Yeah,
Like
me
Titus,
too.
for some strange reason, went from being. I mean, he already had a chain gun and everything, and he's in Marine armor, but he's the only Marine in the entire Terran army that's got a minigun. And it's like, okay, somewhere between Tychus and what Raynor's got already. Just give me that. I want a normal Marine.
It's just they always talk about how heroes are supposed to thematically feel right, and Raynor doesn't.
They're saving the Marine hero for when they make Flash into a Heroes of the Storm character.
Oh, I would be.
So
I would.
obvious.
I
How do
wouldn't
we
even
not
be
see
mad.
this?
I would kind of prefer it to be Boxer because I'm like the biggest Boxer fanboy, but I'm still down for it.
Fangirl.
Fangirl. You're right. Excuse me. Okay. Other shifts in the meta. I mean, like I said, no double tank.
Anubarak, out.
Anubarak is wrecked. Anubarak.
That's
he's,
why we don't see double tank. Because I don't know. I mean, Nubarak's not good anymore.
Well, Anubarak was really good.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, is that you used to have like Arthas, Anubarak, and Stitches, and they all used to be able to put out really good DPS, as well as tank a lot of damage. Anubarak, and not only that, but also ridiculous CC.
Yeah.
But no other tank in the game has ridiculously good DPS as well as ridiculously good health.
Yeah.
And that's why Anubarak is out, and that's why we're
Also,
not seeing a double tank.
Arthas is so good at this point that he's almost always banned. So you're basically left with like Stitches and Chen. It's like which one does your team get?
I didn't really see any Arthas bans. I saw for the most
Kings
part.
of the
We
Storm,
saw
it was
so
like
many
banned just
Arthas
about every
bans.
That's
game.
interesting
Yeah.
because
So many.
I saw mostly Tychus Tassadar bans.
Tychus ban still existed.
It was mostly Tychus and Arthas, from what I recall.
Yeah.
And
In Go for Heroes, it was all Tychus and Tassadar. That's interesting.
Tass was almost always first pick because he was rarely
he was
banned out.
he was highly picked.
But Chen was, since Arthas was always banned, would always be that, like, he was a common first, second pick, because he's so strong right now. Just the amount of zoning, the amount of control you get on the battlefield, and just how tanky he is. The hero that when he first came out, everybody kind of scratched their head and said, what were they thinking with this hero? He's garbage. And now, with only the turn change really affecting him, he's top of the list, really, for tanks next to Arthas.
You didn't
I
get
think it's
changed.
just a matter
Much
of
the other-
like
No, he
things
didn't get
around
changed.
him moved.
Right, but still, they didn't have. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. It's just
Oh yeah, Chen. I always forget Chen. I don't know why.
They nerfed all the
So
other tank, so just make it better.
boring.
Yeah.
Chen's awesome.
And I saw one barrel pick this whole entire weekend, and it wasn't even used to set up a fight. It was really to try and escape, but the barrel is now completely useless for trying to escape.
you move faster, but that's it. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So Chen, really good. He's still just a common pick.
That's the warrior meta, as I see it.
Yeah, you're right. And we saw something really interesting. As this is a very specific scenario this weekend, but we saw Symbiote run with Uther
that's true.
as their tank. So
Yep.
they went a ghost build. They went a Divine Storm, Ghost,
That was a
Stun,
crazy game.
Survivability.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say it's so much of a belt. There's only that one talent now.
Well,
that
he grabbed Resurgence as well.
To go over the comp, because
Yeah.
that was a crazy comp, it was Uther, Tassadar, Rhaegar,
Yeah.
Tychus, Illidan.
Yeah. So they're very much relying on, of course, getting a good
Triple
bloodlust. But like
support.
Uther
And
going
they won
in-
that game, too.
They won?
Yeah, they did. They did.
That's
Uther
against
going
EG,
in.
right?
Yeah, I think it was against CG on Dragonshire.
Holy
Yes, it was
Devotion
Dragonshire.
is the spell you're looking
Yes,
Holy
Holy
Devotion.
Devotion.
Oh, wow.
There used to be a
Okay.
couple talents that would, traits that would go into it, but they've since reworked it a little
But
bit.
when they made that pick, like that was their last pick. Like that was their
Yeah,
that
they
was
went
their
the
fifth
Uther.
pick.
And we
and-
kind of did one of these like,
We just like kind of said, is this right?
Yeah.
I almost asked him in chat, "Are you sure?" Like
Yeah, Dreadnought played Uther. It was weird.
It was
but
cool.
It worked.
it was cool.
It kind of worked. That was a sloppy game,
It was
but
kind of
it
a
worked.
scrappy game. I will say
It
a
was
scrappy
it was
game.
as dude.
It
that
did
was
not work. I don't think how they planned it to. Like,
No.
obviously the idea was to have Uther sprint in, get a sick Divine Storm to set up for like the Bloodlust, but it just sort of never seemed to actually work out that way.
like 20 minutes into the game. I pulled up the tab to look at the healing meters, and like it was actually just kind of disgusting. Like all three of them had more healing than the only healer on the other team. I was just like, what is this that we're looking at?
Are we done with the meta talk yet, or are we moving into eSport? I can't. No troll.
It's all kind of like the same thing, really.
Well, yeah,
like
it's,
back
it
and
really
forth.
is. That's what I said to even Kev. It's all
Can we talk
meshed
about
together. We can talk about both.
SMG
Even after now.
losing for the first time ever?
Well, we'll get to that. That's
We'll
a
get to
big.
that.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, we'll get there.
Jared's like, what do I
That's
say?
that's a big topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Um,
talk about Jaina then, because we brought Syracuse on
Yeah.
for that Jaina
All right,
talk.
yeah, I like that. Let's
We haven't talked about her much.
let's not really do so much of a deep dive, but we can.
Well, yeah, no,
we're
just
good.
just in general. Just
Jake,
tell us
Jake
how
saying
you're building
that-
Jaina.
Let me find a build for you. But I feel like she has potential to be really, really good.
Thank you.
But the meta right now, she was better against two tanks. She would have been better against two tanks with all this DPS. Like everything's a bunch of AOE now, and she just gets wrecked in AOE.
Yeah.
But pretty much, there's a few builds against Chen. She actually does pretty good because she has frost armor, which negates like Chen's big thing.
Oh, okay.
Is that first kick just crushes like Vala or any of these other DPS, but it negates 75% of the damage and it slows them. And so when he gets to 16, he'll get instantly slowed. You'll negate 75% of his kick damage, and you can root him. So she's pretty good against Chen actually.
So you're
Okay,
grabbing
so
Numbing
that's-
Blast, Frost Armor,
that's just against Chen and Illidan
and Nova,
just
right?
defensive builds.
All right,
Nova, yeah, whatever I see with Nova.
I'm going to
But-
start some beef right here. Hold on a second. So you're saying that it's a good idea to take frost armor, and I understand the logic behind that. But if I recall correctly, on Clairvoyance last week, Jake had interviewed Dunk Train, and he said if you don't take the cooldown reduction on the Ice Lance talent on the same tier, you may as well AFK.
But this is a very specific thing. This
Oh, I know.
is
But you even brought up the ice armor, and you're like, what? He was like, what? No. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to. How do you feel about Iceland's comparison? Like, is that really so critical? Is he over exaggerating? Like,
I think it's a slight exaggeration.
slight.
Yeah. 'Cause
But
it's really just
yeah,
those
Icy
three
Veins.
heroes where you grab that talent, the Frost Armor.
Yeah. Yeah, Icy Veins it makes it great in team fights anyway. You get really, really, really short, like frost bolts anyways in team fights. That's the real problem with Jaina. She has such a great kit, but you have to get Icy Veins. Might as well just go another hero. In
Really?
my opinion.
Wow. Okay. Because I get sprint. Because
Jay!
It's,
Jay!
May as well AFK, Jake.
Yeah, you might as well AFK, bro.
Syracuse just said it.
because
yeah, I wish Sprint was on 16 so
Yeah,
badly, or
me
Icy
too.
Veins on 16.
I think Icy Veins makes sense in 16 more. so
God,
than
if you
Sprint.
put Icy Veins on 16 though, like that's so much
Yeah.
of her. That's
Yeah.
so much of her
So good.
DPS and pushed back to level 16.
It balances it at least.
I
Because
think.
getting Icy Veins in Sprint.
All right. So let's talk about heroics.
Oh yeah, that'd be so balanced to have Icy Veins and Sprint. Let's talk about how balanced that would be. Jaina,
Well-
first pick in every single match in the tournament this weekend. Nobody is
Should
surprised.
be pretty good.
She's not that great against Witch Doctor though, and Witch Doctor is everywhere right now. We'll see with when
What?
Murden gets unbanned if Witch Doctor is still exactly the same, but
You know who else does a lot of work against her is just Abathur Hat. Just Abathur Hats on minions just do so. Her health pool so little that like if Abathur just wants to be really aggressive against you and you don't have a healer nearby, she just kind of gets wrecked over
Yeah.
time. But so heroics, how do you feel about the two heroics?
I really like Ring of Frost, but it's not that practical in games. It's too hard to hit.
Yep.
It is way too hard to hit. You have to get close, you just die. The Summon Water Elemental is great because it slows immediately. Yeah, you can just I sit there and I change targets throughout the fight and slow people the whole time.
Yep.
And I'm always just slowing people, and it does a lot of damage if you don't focus it either. And it's got a decent health pool, so I think it's water elemental all the way, unless you're doing some sort of wombo. Then
Water-
maybe,
No.
Water Elemental is like just having a sixth hero in your battle
Yep.
that just poops
It's
all
so
over
good.
everybody. It's
So good.
so strong.
Yep.
And it's like you can never 1v1 her if you're any other assassin. Like I've never come out on top of that on that if they have a water elemental that's up because you'll either trade 1-for-1 or she'll just win.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have run into much the same, but
Pardon the game sound
Yeah.
effects real quick,
Yeah,
guys.
that-
Booting up the client.
It makes sense. Level 20, Blink, or upgrade for the Water Elemental?
The upgrade for Water Elemental is amazing, but it's really hard to not go Blink against its current meta.
Yeah.
Like Stitches is in like every game now. Everybody's picking Stitches.
See, that's why
And
I
you can
grabbed
get-
Sprint, because I loved getting that upgrade so much.
Yeah.
I know it's a scrubby thing to do and it's just fun, but
I do it a lot too. I go the upgrade probably 60% of the games, but I don't know. Just Bolt is so good against Stitches and some of the comps lately. If there's an Arthas, I go the Winter Mute. She destroys Arthas, just destroys. He can't ever catch you, and you just blow him up.
it's true.
I just want to point out that Son of Flynn just posted in chat Water Elemental plus Winter's Veil Jaina. Do you want to meet my snowman?
Dude, I sing that all day,
He's
man.
gonna rip your spine.
That's awesome.
So just to run through for anybody that wants to try to do this build, I'm just going to go through on screen here really, really quick. It's kind of our deep dive, shortened very, very greatly. So level 1, Winter's Reach. Would you agree, or do you get the increased slow?
Honestly, there's 3 good builds. Like the thing with Jaina, is she has so many good builds. A lot of times I go Winter's Reach, especially against Karragans and stuff, because you're sitting there running like as far back as possible.
Yep.
But there's also the increased slow is amazing against like Arthas. Arthas can't ever touch you if you get the increased slow. And then if I'm going in the Frost armor builds, you have to go Lingering Chill for the extra 6 seconds on the chill.
All right, so let's just
Just-
make one build here. So let's go.
Okay.
We're going to go with Winter's Reach.
This is my favorite build, yes.
All right,
Winter's Reach,
Okay.
Frost Shards.
Frost Shards. Okay, so they pierce
Yep.
there.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff that gets in the way in team fights.
Yep.
And you would. So.
Level 7,
Then level 7, we go.
Ice Lance.
Yep, Ice Lance.
And except for the very specific scenarios, like we said, Chen,
Chen.
Nova, and Illidan, you really need that initial just keep the damage off. You get Frost Armor. You see them. Level 10, Water
Definitely,
Elemental.
Yep.
And then Icy Veins on
Ice-
13.
Ice-
16, you're going to get Numbing Blast. It's the 1-second root on your Chrono Cold. And 20, you're going to be grabbing Bolt 9 times out of 10. But if you're feeling really bold and you want to get Winter Mute, go for it because it's a ton of fun. Your Water Elemental will cast all your other spells.
All right, question.
No
Do
AI?
you think Ring of Frost would be better if it had a cast time and went off instantly instead of it's on the ground and you have time to get out of it detonation?
As long as the cast wasn't super obvious, then I think so.
So yeah, that's
Like
yeah.
a second and a half to 2 second cast. And then
If it wasn't super obvious, yeah.
because right now you throw it on the ground and you have like 2 seconds to get out of it. It's like
Mhm.
it's so bad.
It's precision strike, basically.
Yeah.
It's like a worse precision strike because you can't even overdrive it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. The
There's
my build's actually identical to yours. If I didn't grab Sprint, which I only have been grabbing
Level
for
20
the last
Ring
2
of
days.
Frost upgrade
It-
makes it global.
Oh, that God. Is I always get AI because I find that I'm always out of mana. Arcane.
yeah, I get that in some builds as well.
So occasionally you'll grab Frost Shards because you have
Yeah.
the guaranteed hit almost. But
Mhm.
don't you go really quick?
When I'm spamming, I've learned to not spam her abilities as much. At first, I was just spamming all day, but it's been a little easier going out of like saving your mana for the right situations. Like once you get used to her, she's a really high skill cap. That's the thing with her. So we'll probably see her later on, but right now, very seldom you'll see her.
Overall thoughts on her viability as a competitive hero, starting with Cooby.
Oof. Oof. That's. I don't know. I like you said, we're not seeing people play her to the best, and even when we were seeing her play this weekend, like how many times do we see Jenna like almost die because she like stepped out like halfway past the lane mark? Like just you have to be so careful. And I think the way that the meta is right now, especially with this, enough viability of dive comps and like you said, Stitches is going to be really popular. If you get hooked, there's no getting out of that situation. So I think right now, not too good.
Not too good. Going down to Jared.
I think she's in the same position as Witch Doctor used to be. Just, very specific comps, last pick type of thing. She's got a place, but it's a very small place. She's not as what we thought she was going to be, where we thought we were going to see her in like a third of the games or something. She's very Witch Doctor-esque in that sense.
Kev?
I find her even less useful than Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor, you can kind of like throw all your stuff away, get the toxins on everybody, and kind of like pivot around and kind of be in the back line and then get your Ravenous Spirit off, which is going to be at a safe distance. But Jaina, you have to be like up close and personal. She's like Tychus, but she doesn't have her dash. She's like Tychus, but she doesn't have first aid. She's like Tychus, but she doesn't have an Odin. So there's no
what if she
escape.
So
became
she's
the
not
snowman?
like Tychus.
No,
She
he's
doesn't have
saying in the
survivability.
sense-
Yeah, she's got really good damage, but low range, and it's not something that really mixes up too well. So I really don't feel like we're gonna see her too much, if at all, unless they fix some of her ranges. I think.
And overall thought, Syracuse?
Niche pick. Big niche pick. She does a lot of damage. She's very annoying in team fights if you position properly, but she's just so hard in the meta right now. Illidan is great against her. Stitches is great against her. She's susceptible to AoE, which everyone's playing Witch Doctor now. So you'll see her here and there, but not a number one first pick, first ban until she gets changed.
Well, I can't disagree with you guys. I think she's got a very small place in the game, like you said. Too easy to kill, too little. We saw a good play out of her in Kings of the Storm in one game. I can't recall who was playing her. It was earlier in the tournament. Almost never died, did a lot of damage. But guys, she's really fun. If you've played her at all, just take into consideration in the current build, it doesn't record the damage done from her Blizzard and some of her crit damage. If I'm not mistaken, there's kind of a bug there. So
I'm pretty sure Blizzard records her damage. Otherwise, feel like she's overpowered.
Gosh. Well,
She's awesome.
her
She's really
spell
fun.
she's a
God, why?
They need to cast her.
He doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop.
Yeah, I would like to
That
see...
one took a second. I was like, oh, Kev, why?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'd like to see a range buff. I think that's the
Yep,
best
I agree.
way to fix her.
I wish her Blizzard. That's the only spell I have a problem with. I think her Blizzard needs like 20% more range.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm fine with having to spec into her Q to get the range. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the range on her Cone of Cold because it's supposed to be a relatively melee spell, but her Blizzard feels like you have to be too close.
Yep. I think somebody in chat said it. Shane Gucher. It was Equinox, by the way, who played this weekend. He's loving Jaina. He's playing a lot of Jaina.
Nice. Yeah, he
Yeah.
played well. He
Yeah.
played really well. Well, that's Jaina, and I guess that kind of covers most. I think that's pretty much all the weird stuff we saw here. Well, Nazebo.
Let's talk about Murd and Tyrande.
Well, that's
No.
that's just a ban.
No, I know, but how do
No,
we...
it's not.
Not anymore.
Screw that.
Let's
They're
talk
unbanned.
about it. Let's talk about it. That's...
Six. Muradin is not a ban. He's still not viable. He's still not even useful. Even with 20 HP a second, he's still not useful. Oh my god.
I don't necessarily agree with
He's
that.
overbuffed. They broke him.
I don't-
And he's still not useful.
He's really,
Nazebo.
really, really good early game.
Yeah, but that's
Nazebo.
it.
Yeah, he is a kind of like a Nazebo counter, which is a
Yep,
weird
you're
thing
gonna see him against Nazebo, and he's actually has a little bit of early game. But the thing was,
But
Yeah.
Nazebo's still only like a fourth or fifth pick. So if they already pick their tank, they pick another. They already pick a tank. They pick Stitch or something else. They pick Muradin.
Something they have to
You're
worry
just
about.
like, you have 0 damage. You could even go Gargantuan, and you would still out-damage that Muradin. You would still out-damage everything.
I would hope
else
so.
there. Like, it's just, there's nothing I think that Nazebo offers. Or not,
People are
sorry,
fighting-
Muradin offers.
people are picking Nazebo a lot earlier now. Even just this weekend, we saw it later on, and all the scrims have been in. It's been a second, third pick now. Like everyone's
Whoa.
fighting Nazebo.
Finally, God tier. Yes.
Interesting.
I mean,
yes.
people are learning how to zone and get the max value out of the Gargantuan. Or not
Is it safe to assume
Ravenous
that
Spirit.
they're playing or they're running Avatar to just get the mini stun on the
Oh.
like
Murden, that's what they do.
He didn't
Yeah.
say Murden.
Yeah.
He said Nazebo. He didn't say that
Nazebo.
people are picking Murden. He said people are taking Nazebo.
Zebo. So I think Murden will be a pick again just to
Yeah.
stop Zebo.
Yeah. It could evolve to be that. Because I mean, Tychus is banned out so often. The range grenade is great to try to stop it. In theory, the Lunar Flare is good from Tyrande. In theory.
Yeah.
Anyone just see ZP burn Kev's Diablo in chat?
Okay, all right, ZP.
Wrecked.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about Diablo over Muradin. All right, at least we have Firestorm. We have a pop. We have the choice of Lightning Breath, Shadow Charge. Doesn't have to get stopped by a zombie wall. You don't have to worry about jumping out of battle because you're the Lord of Terror. All right, you're not going to go down.
like that little head shake. Do that
anytime
again.
Soon. All right. But I'm wearing an
Like Night
Arthur
of the
sword.
Roxbury's. Like...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But
Diablo.
Murden has some early game too, though. Murden's ganks are pretty strong right now. We played
Okay,
against a few teams,
so yeah, that's what it seems like. He's either a situational pick to counter maybe against Nazebo, but early game he's like
He's
an
annoying.
unstoppable amount of like value all the time. Like you just can't. It doesn't matter how much damage you do to him. He just steps back for a second. Oh, I'm back to full. So it's like you just have to ignore him almost. It's really weird. It's such a
Extremely
weird
annoying.
interaction to have early game.
Yeah, he has decent ganks and he's impossible to kill early game, and he at least has a getaway. That's one thing. He's got a getaway late game too. So if you're jumping in to stop those Nazebo ults, you can rewind out at least. Where some heroes you can't get out.
It's true. He's a tank with rewind. That's
is.
something you can't disregard.
I mean, I will actually say I've always quite liked Muradin, but I still don't feel like
kid's
he's
fun.
going to be. He's got a really good kit, but I build him a little bit different than everybody else. Where everybody else gets dwarf tossing, I normally get heavy impact. So
That's
that
a
if you get the
stun on
rewind, so you
Is it
get the
stun or a
rewind,
root?
you have four different stuns to stun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though it's a 0.25 second stun, it's
Stun
still
to
enough
stun.
to get ahead of somebody and then start body blocking like crazy. I just still find somebody like Diablo better because Muradin, you're good at stunning somebody, but Diablo's really good at putting himself between where that person wants to go. So
Honestly,
that's where I like Diablo. I feel like Muradin's good for
Yeah.
stopping channels, and that's about it.
Diablo's going to get
He's-
really popular once they nerf Resurgence more. Once Resurgence is actually fixed, I think Diablo will see more play because
Fixed,
Souls...
you mean gone?
Yes, maybe. Who knows? But Souls will become a very, very strong thing to have. And Souls is a great...
Well, the problem with that is that Diablo can't wear shoes.
Stop, you're done. No, God, I'm leaving. Goodbye.
That's just... I'm actually, like, offended by that one. That one is just awful, disgusting. Like, you're scum of earth, man.
How
Scum
does
of the
he
earth.
do it every time?
it's-
It's
It's,
Oh,
it's,
God,
it's
Kev.
so bad.
every single time. Oh.
The show's done.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What were we
let's talk
talking
Kev's
about?
reaction to
We're
that.
You
talking
want
about
me, want me to calm you down
No,
and talk
no,
to you while
here
you're
it
playing the
comes.
PlayStation? Because I can definitely console you.
Oh my god.
I just hear someone throwing stuff. That's great.
Anyway,
Yeah, so we're talking
in
about
all honesty, I did have one more meta question, which was about Sergeant Hammer, because we were having a discussion about this in Skype chat today. Do you guys think Sergeant Hammer is going to come back? Because range damage has kind of gone down a bit with Nova, as well as sieging towers and all that is actually pretty good in order to actually have experience, because towers are easier to take. Do you think Sergeant Hammer is going to come back?
I think it's, yeah. I think she will. She's such a great lane bully, especially paired with certain heroes. And we talked about it earlier, but forcing people out of lanes for that experience gain is, I don't know. I think she can do it decently well if the hammer's good. I don't know. I think
Dragonshire, absolutely. I think she'll always be a map-dependent hero.
Mhm.
Now it almost sounds like it doesn't matter. Like, we were talking about like the lane soaking and everything on Cursed Hollow. It's like, well, it's okay to leave her bottom lane now. So is she really that bad on that map anymore? With the way things have changed, maybe not.
yeah, and she can take towers more easily now, and
Right. So,
well,
She's better.
she doesn't take them easier, but they're more valuable to take early on. So,
Right,
I don't know.
right.
She's just overall. I don't know. I think she's gone up a bit.
Yeah, she has. She's a little bit better. She's not like first pick or anything, but she's more valuable than last batch.
Right.
You'll see more of her. I guarantee
we,
it.
we saw that in the last game of the SMG series. Like they got to the end of the pick, and it's like they need damage. That was like a serious question. That there's like, who do we take? That was. I can guarantee you they're arguing a long time about that, and that's the thing now. So maybe
running.
Hammer. Yeah.
EG
Oh,
ran it
you're
this
talking
weekend.
Game 5 of that series?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into more detail on that soon.
Well, yeah, no, but just as a specific
yeah,
example,
yeah.
it's like, is there enough ranged
Right.
DPS in the game right now? And that's now some of these lower tiered heroes that are actually, good autoers or good, just raw damage output.
You hear it, Blizzard? Give us Sylvanas. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I've lost all hype for her.
Please.
What?
They're gone.
Oh. Watch, she's like right up your alley.
I wanted her to be an assassin, not a specialist.
You're like the specialist guy.
I know, but still.
You're disgusting.
You're just Jared doesn't even know what he wants after
I
Jaina
don't.
wasn't what he wasn't what he expected.
Exactly, yeah.
So-
I've just lost all hope. I just want Vikings at this point.
All right.
Give me my Vikings.
Let me look at my mouse pad over all the heroes.
Uh,
Asmodan, rip. Abathur, didn't see any play on him at all. No Abathur play whatsoever.
I saw Abathur's.
We didn't in KotS. We didn't see him once in our games.
Oh no, I've seen spike builds or whatever the hell it is.
Wow, so just for the
hat
increased damage on the Q.
spikes. Yeah, well, so they didn't go for like really pushy Abathur. They just still kind of used the fact that you could
Like a
have
power
double
hat.
heroes. And
Yeah.
power
So-
of a hat.
Yeah, that's what I was
actually
saying. Like,
good
Hat
damage.
is still really good, and I think Hat's in a good place. Like, they did a lot of tweaks to it, and it feels like the right part to like Abathur, but they still need to work on the whole heroic thing. And the push part, they're still tweaking, but the Hat part, good stuff.
Symbiote's always been probably the most powerful part of Abathur anyway, just being able to be anywhere,
Yeah.
like just shielding, killing things.
Of course.
So.
Is Hat being paired with like Illidan? Like what's
Yeah.
typic-
I think I saw
Hat Illidan is scary.
somebody
It's
ran
scary.
something weird this weekend. I don't remember what it was, but it was like I think it was Illidan, Abathur, Rhaegar,
Rhaegar?
and then I think it was like an Uther and a Nova. It was a really weird composition.
That's weird.
They actually did okay with it too, which was the
Did
surprising.
Vex do this?
I don't think it was Vex. I think it was darn it, I don't remember who it was. Anyway,
Well, let's.
it was something really weird like that.
Jake's cleaning
that's
his
weird.
mouse pad.
I am.
Because I remember, I was thinking that Abathur was going to clone the Uther, and I was like, double Divine Storm, but then Abathur was cloning the Illidan, and I was like, blah, 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 and then like double Metamorphosis, and I was like,
That's cool.
I guess. Didn't work out so well now. I remember.
Didn't work.
So you guys saw Abathur in ESL. We didn't see him much
Yeah.
at all in KotS. Syracuse overall thoughts on Abathur in general?
A lot weaker.
Yeah.
A lot.
His ult change just hurt him a lot.
Yeah.
We saw him one game. I think it was Tempest who ran it against us, and yeah,
It's so noticeable. I was playing Abathur on
Yeah.
ladder the other day. It's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous how much of a difference it is. It's like it's crazy. It's like you're just actually sitting around like, well, the next two team fights, I can't. Like before, it's like stall for 10 seconds. I'm gonna have my heroic up, and now it's like,
Yep.
don't fight. I don't have my heroic up for another minute.
Yeah, it takes
it's that
forever.
big of a deal.
me and Soldier tried to do the Asmodan Abathur thing, and it's like impossible with the core changes and like how long the ult is. We're like, oh, is your ult up? It should be up. Mine's been up for like a minute now. I'm like, nah, I still got like 20 seconds, bro.
Man.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Kev since he cast ESL. I only caught the finals. Did you see Lily at all? No, I'm serious. This is like, I know it's funny to you, but this is a serious question.
This is an actual question.
JQ.
Hell no. Hell no. Why would there? It doesn't matter how much she heals. She's a useless hero. I'm sorry.
No, you're not wrong.
I know, and I know.
It's a serious question though, because her healing output's really high. It's really high.
I honestly was just looking at the hero list. And I was like, should I even bring up Lily? I was like, no, they didn't fix anything.
For those
that's actually
newer
broken.
viewer or like newer players to the game, Lily is to support what Diablo is to warriors.
Oh!
All right, them some fighting
Get
words. All right,
wrecked.
them some fighting words. At least Diablo can put down some CC, can put down some health tanking, can put down some damages later on. All right, Lily does nothing but heal and takes up a spot that would also be used by a useful hero who would be, survey says, literally anybody else.
Murky even, yes.
Oh my god.
I would take a Murky over a Lily still.
Okay, just running through our list, just throwing stuff out there. We talked about tanks. We talked about Diablo maybe being a thing. ETC, dance, still too easy to counter.
Yeah.
Never gonna
Especially
happen.
So many
in the
knockbacks.
Nazebo era with everyone running so many stuns too. It's like not gonna happen.
Yeah, not gonna happen. I agree.
He melts.
Now,
Melts,
now,
yeah.
now, pairing
wait,
pairing
hold on, Jared, hold
Nazebo
on.
with ETC.
Glaurung just said, "You will be surprised here soon." Syracuse, what's going on? What's going on? Your secret
Water
script.
Dragon hype?
Are you playing Lee? Are you doing
I don't
it?
know.
You're
Do you
doing the
want to
Lee,
summon a
aren't you, boy?
dragon?
We'll have to wait and see, but it'll be interesting. Maybe it'll be a flop. Maybe it won't. We'll see what happens.
Oh gosh, the
flop?
spoilers.
What's hanging around that Glaurung boy?
He said a flop. It's
Yep.
murky.
Wow, you see what Arthlon says about Diablo? How do you feel about
You know
that,
what?
Kev?
I don't care. I don't care how wrong everybody is. All right.
Kev is just
All right.
trying to cash in on like the Jake thing, where it's just
You
like I'm
know-
gonna pick some random heroic and hope that it's
I
correct.
shouldn't be attacking Kev because I've been a supporter of Nazebo and Murky since like day one, so I know what it's like to have a hero that no one likes.
You say pick a random heroic, but I've been like right every single time I've made a prediction. So
Jake.
hey man, they call me the Farseer, and by they I mean
Stop,
myself.
You're done.
Kerrigan's
Self-proclaimed Farseer.
Kerrigan's back.
Wait a minute. You didn't make a Far Sight joke? Rhaegar, who is like your main guy, and you didn't say Far Sight?
He's
Learn
the
to love
He's
Farseer.
still he's still new to this thing, Kevin. You have to train him first. You can't just like throw him into the deep end.
So Kerrigan's back. Zeratul seeing not a ton of play anymore. I mean, we didn't see him. We saw him.
Glau's been playing him. No, Glau played him.
Oh, that's just we didn't cast any glorious games at all this weekend. So
Yeah.
I'm still playing him.
I
that's
guarantee you're going to see more Zeratul soon.
yeah.
You're gonna see
I was
stuff.
surprised by the lack of Zeratul. Like there was a few scenarios where they opted to go
Just-
for Maw instead of Zeratul. They went with Zagara, and multiple
Oh,
teams
really?
they
Yep.
went with Maw. Just
Dude, I saw a ton of Zeratul this weekend.
saw
Yeah,
almost
Zeratul
none in our
definitely
games.
still in.
And it could just be stylistic because we casted. Well, I guess we
Like,
casted
mainly SMG.
EG, SMG,
Yeah, we-
Vortex, and Maelstrom, and Barrel Boys. Those are the only teams we saw on our
Barrel
cast.
Boys.
But Zeratul was going to be not that good this patch just because the tower changes, because you can't push that hard early game. His pushing isn't that great, but he's actually surprisingly really good this patch, just
Good.
because you can get the 16 easier now.
Yeah.
As well.
It's true.
No,
That's
it's
a good
not
point.
even that. You know what I honestly think it is about Zeratul, and I don't know if I should say this because I don't play a ton of him, but I played him like a couple of times, I think, since patch. Maybe? I don't even remember if I have. I feel like it would be the turning radius would actually really help him out. Because he always kind of had a problem of being next to the person he wanted to auto attack. I feel like you get a couple extra auto attacks. Like watching his damage spikes, like he was getting some ridiculous numbers during ESL. Like really good numbers during ESL that I've never even seen a Zeratul do before. Plus the fact that his Void Prison was like blocking out tribute channels too, because it's 7 down to 6, and now you have like only a second that they have to respond. But
I haven't
I-
played Zeratul
I saw
since change, but
ridiculous
sure.
Zeratul damage.
Like,
I don't know.
Lauren
I mean,
always
if
does
it,
a lot.
if a Zeratul main is around, I would love to hear your thoughts.
Am I wrong?
Glarong always does a lot of damage. He gets so
Alright.
much poking, even before the patch. He always does a lot of damage on Zeratul.
His Zeratul's
I
dumb.
never-
It-
I used to play with a
It's
decent
too
amount of Zeratul. Where's Trickslayer? That guy's a Zeratul main, right?
Yeah, he's good. I like Zeratul's patch.
Yeah, Zeratul's good.
All right, so
Anuba wrecked.
Anubarak,
Anubarak.
he's
He's super average.
super average.
Super average.
Nothing standing out about him. Nerfs all around on him. Nerfs on his heroic. Nerfs on rewind.
Too much.
Nerfs on his shield.
Just enough.
I think too much. I think too
Little
much.
A little bit too much.
Taking the
Little
shield, the shield nerf seems
Yeah.
just like
They
pushing
put
it
3
too
nerfs
far.
in. I think 2 of them would have sufficed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Like the shield and the
heroic
locust swarm,
Rewind.
like
Yeah.
just do one or the other.
Rewind.
Rewind, I
Well,
think
the look-
was kind of like the one biggest I wouldn't say justifiable, but like they seem to be removing rewind from all those mega stun heroes, like they did it to Uther. They do it to a lot of heroes that have multiple stuns, and I wasn't too surprised about it.
I think they just needed to only take out rewind. That's it.
I
Really?
I don't disagree. I think that
Yeah.
we should have did that. See where he's at, and Jared, you're shaking your head.
Huh? No.
Okay.
Anyway, I completely agree. But I mean, it's kind of weird though because he was doing a lot of damage. I was like running into situations where I was doing like most damage on my team. Granted, that's probably pub matches, but like Anubarak did a lot of damage, especially with like Burning Rage and everything else.
But he
Like,
always has. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, he had a lot of damage and a ridiculous amount of sustain and everything else. Then he also had ridiculous amounts of CC too. So it felt like they needed to cut down on his sustain and his CC so that he could still do ridiculous amounts of damage. Is what I'm kind of like
Yeah.
leading up to.
Yeah.
Because it felt like he just was best of all worlds. Funny note, real quick, is that iDream in chat was just saying Zeratul is a horrible hero. No one should ever pick him. iDream was the guy who I'm not sure if SMG was target banning because of iDream, but it definitely felt like it after game one.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even after game one. It was because of I think it was Glorious versus C9
Yeah.
this weekend.
Yep. We played him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
He
watched
was very
those games, and I bet they immediately were just like, okay, we can't let iDream have Zeratul. You want to
The
watch some
respect
really
ban
good?
is real.
You want to watch some good Zeratul play? Go watch iDream, man. He did some pretty cool stuff.
I can't wait to catch the VODs.
Yeah, he was really surprisingly really good this weekend at Zeratul because we haven't played against very many good Zeratuls. And this weekend he was scary. He was very scary. I think
The only Zeratul mains I remember, like a Glaurung and like
Glaurung.
Pickles for a while, like those were the only two that ever played Zeratul consistently.
the first one I ever saw actually was Arthalon a long time ago. Like
That
4 or 5
was-
months. Arthalon was the first.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him play.
So
It's been a long time.
we've gone through almost every hero. Nova, she lost Rewind. She took a
Dead.
huge nerf.
Dad,
I think we saw her one game, maybe. It was like a counter pick to Nazebo. I think it was attempted on Sunday.
Not standing out to me, so it wasn't quite effective.
It wasn't
I think.
Kings. I thought it happened on Sunday. I thought she was picked as a
Yeah.
counter pick to Nazebo, and I don't think it worked, if I'm not mistaken. But
That's
gonna be
the other big one, I think.
Tass, he's still great.
Yeah.
They nerfed him. He's still great.
Yeah,
Murky's
really good.
still unplayed.
Yep, good,
Yeah.
very good,
Yeah.
on point.
Murky never gets
On
love.
point.
And Gazlo still unseen as well.
Yeah.
don't think
Gazlo, I
there's any other
find,
big
will
changes.
find his place in the meta based around shifts. If it ever becomes Wombo-like, maybe Soaking makes Gazlo better. Maybe
I mean, but you can do wombos without Gazlo, and that's really all Gazlo's like.
he's
Yeah.
good
claim
at
to
pushing.
fame is.
He's good for
Yeah.
positioning on something
Maybe
like mines.
pushing. You know what? Now that you say pushing, maybe in some weird composition, he's going to be cool because of like ridiculous pushing or something.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't see
So easy to
because
gank.
there's
and then
better.
lose
There's
it.
there's way better pushers.
It's,
Like you'd rather just
Yeah.
have
Yep.
Taskbar.
I mean, I can't disagree, but I think that
Yep.
pretty much covers the hero update, and I think it's time to talk about what Jared wants to talk about, which is the grand finals of Kings of the Storm and
Oh,
Symbiote.
wait, is it just grand finals? Or are we doing an esports talk now?
Well, this is the esports talk, but
Okay,
we've
so we can
already
talk about other things
we've-
as well,
We've
right?
done a bunch of esports, but let's start with this topic, and we'll talk
Okay.
about all the other stuff that happened. But I think this is probably the biggest news. Is Symbiote has lost their first tournament. They've been dominant for a very long time, and this doesn't mean they're not the best because
Oh, I
they
disagree. They're washed up. They're done. They're never coming back, man.
I
SMG
mean,
is done.
they're
for.
they're
I
they,
can't believe all
They
the
came back
chat
the next
comments
day.
like that.
they're still very
I can't
good,
believe all
but
the chat comments like that. SMG's
anyways,
done.
anyways,
GG.
anyways, Cloud9 Maelstrom had their first tournament appearance, and so did Cloud9 Vortex. Basically, if you guys don't follow Heroes super religiously, at BlizzCon we saw Cloud9. That team split up and became two teams, Cloud9 Maelstrom and Vortex. The team members from the original Cloud9 are split between the two. We have Zuna and Kenma on one team, and 3 members of Liquid have merged into that to make Cloud9 Maelstrom. So it's Dunk Train, Biceps, King Caffeine, Zuna, and Kenma. And they are the team that went up against Maelstrom, or Symbiote. And, it was quite the series. So Grand Finals, their first event, best of 5 series. Coobs, we casted that match.
Did.
You guys did great jobs casting, by the way. You did really good jobs.
Thank you.
Agreed.
I agree.
But yeah, that series, holy crap! I was watching them on
Games
Monday.
1 through 4 were holy crap. Games
Yeah.
5 was
Games
like,
5 was
Five
just
was
like,
like-
Symbiote threw it.
I just couldn't-
SMG.
Yeah, what happened at the draft was crazy. As soon as I saw that, and I pointed it out right away, I was like, I got to give it to them. Just draft alone was like crazy.
I mean, do we want to talk
Just the
about
fact
the
that
drafts really quick?
They had nothing at the end. It was like, you could tell that they were just left out of options.
I don't think we need to break down every game, Jake, but
Yeah,
the
well-
best ones for sure.
No, all right. So here's what
False
happened
alarm,
right
so they're just
before
securing all their
the game started. Was that C9 Maelstrom went into their little cave and they started singing "Be Prepared" from the Lion King, and then Liquid
Be
dumped,
prepared.
Liquid dumped, or sorry, Dump Train at the end of Game 5 did the whole "Long live the king" and threw SMG collectively off the side into the giant wildebeest.
God,
rampage.
I love it.
I want you all to picture like Mufasa being Dreadnought, and then
Yeah,
Zuna.
right? Oh, yeah, it was definitely like Dump Train just throwing off.
Wait, so does that mean that Zuna is in like? Does that mean that Cloud9 is actually hyenas because they kill?
Yeah.
They kill Scar at the end. Oh, you said Mufasa.
You know what? And you know what? At the end, it was scared little Arthlon was running away, and it was Zuna goes, "Yeah, you hear that? You come back, we'll kill ya!" And that's exactly how Kings of the Storm ended.
Yeah. So people are asking for
Yeah,
people are asking for links, and if you're watching the YouTube VOD, obviously they're on my YouTube channel. But yeah, the YouTube channel is there for the Kings finals. Crazy series though, back and forth, and we saw something really cool. Game 1 goes to Cloud9, and Symbiote does what they like to do. They bring them back to the same map.
Oh.
So I think it was Cursed for Game 1. Yep.
Yep.
Cursed for Game 1. Cloud9 wins. Symbiote says no. Bring you back to the map, and Symbiote takes the game. Then it goes to Garden. This time, Symbiote wins. I think it was Garden. And then Cloud9 says the same thing. No, we're going to beat you on Garden. It's like this alpha male.
Dragonshire.
Dragonshire. It's like, yeah, those are the two more common maps, so it makes sense. That we're going to Dragonshire. And just like they make that confidence play, and then they beat them on that map. And all 4 of those games were just like boom, 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 like super action-packed, really crazy stuff. We saw a respect ban come out of Cloud9 on Rhaegar. A respect ban because Bloodlust was just winning SMG games hard. Then, Game 5, SMG made a mistake, and they made a respect ban on Nazebo. And this allowed for Cloud9 to get Falstad, Vala, and Tychus.
Yeah. That's what we asked them in the interview immediately after. They were just like, "Oh, you're gonna give us Tychus? That's really nice of you." Like how they felt about the draft. They were just like, "Oh, wow, okay."
It's just like I think Cloud9 SMG overlooked that or something, and like it was just terrifying. That game, everyone was just melting on SMG side. Like,
It became very apparent very quick. Like we all were like thinking, "Oh, this is not going to be good," and then once we actually saw team fights, it's like, that's a lot of damage. Guys,
like
that's a lot of damage.
probably 15 minutes into the game, SMG just gave up, and they were just getting picked off. Really uncharacteristic stuff. It was an SMG we've never seen where they were just getting picked off like way out of position constantly. It was very uncharacteristic, but I feel like
it's so much that it's weird to see them so far behind that they have to make those weird plays.
Yeah.
Where they're just like someone's like doing something crazy across the map, or it's like, what is this guy doing over here? It's like, oh, he was trying to sneak this or whatever. But every time they tried to do these weird things, Cloud9 was there. They just cleaned up the kills, and it kept rolling out of control. It was one funny thing that you mentioned about the maps. When it came down to Game 5, there was a really small map pool left over, because each team had won on 2 of the maps already. So because of Dave's stupid rule where you can't play on a map you've already won on, like they only were able to choose between 3 maps. And if you guys know anything about SMG, they refuse to play on Black Hearts.
So
this it basically allowed C9 Maelstrom to just pick the map, because they knew that they were going to ban out that. So they were just like, and because they got first ban, like, we know they're going to ban Black Hearts, so we get to pick the map, essentially.
So they just went to Garden, and which was pretty expected. And from there,
Did they have
Maelstrom played
Illidan?
really well. I loved watching all of Maelstrom's games throughout the entire day, and
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that team right now. They're really strong.
Did SMG end up getting Illidan that last game? That Game 5?
Yes, they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, Illidan melts to
He-
3 DPS.
it was like-
Yeah.
you're right. I
Just
mean,
melt.
that's a great point to make because they had the triple assassin, and Illidan ended up being a paperweight. Soldier couldn't do anything. He just couldn't. Like
Every time he went in, just dead instantly.
Yeah, we played against EG. We let EG get the same thing this weekend, the one game they got off us, and we had Illidan, and Glorong was dying instantly. There was nothing we could do. We're like, let's not let that happen again.
Yeah.
So what do you think the answer is? Is this like when Hammer comes into play? Do you have to go Hammer? Do you have to go Zagara? Is Void Prison the answer? Like, what do you think is the answer to that triple powerhouse assassin comp?
I don't let them get
think-
it.
Zeratul. Yeah, don't let him get it, but I think maybe
Yeah.
Zeratul.
Zeratul.
It's funny because we were talking about taking Zagara in that situation, but game 1 was a very, very similar draft, and they decided to choose Zagara, SMG did, for their last pick, and it didn't work out well. So they tried something different and went with Raynor in this game. So that was clear wasn't the answer either. So-
As soon as we saw Raynor without Rhaegar, it was just like, this is
Yeah,
gonna be
that was so bad.
Yeah,
a
it
lot
was
of
just
the
like
NA scene agrees that playing Raynor without Bloodlust is not a good idea.
Yeah.
it's bad. It's just
Yeah, I don't like it.
he's
Kev,
terrible.
what are you doing?
He's
Hey,
mathing.
Chris.
Abathur
so
math.
Hold on. So I'm just coming up with a random idea. I was like, so they just buffed the crap out of imposing presence. So what if you let them have if they have those 3? What happens if you have something like a Nubarak, Diablo, and
But
I'm
those
trying to
3
think of who
are-
would be the other one. No. And you grab imposing presence on everybody.
Yeah, but
Does
those
it
are all
stack?
they're all spellcasters though. False
I don't think it stacks.
Yeah.
spellcaster and Vala.
I would be. It doesn't. there's no
Imperial,
way it
Imperial.
stacks.
No, if it
There's
was
no way
like
it stacks.
No, it doesn't stacks, but still, it's 50% damage reduction as long as you have to do damage.
They get negative 50% attack, so it heals you.
it's attack speed though. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with their cowldowns or spells or anything like that. And that's
yeah,
what they
cooldowns
get
and
most
spells
of.
and whatnot. Oh, Vala,
Let
not
Kev
so
dream,
much.
Corey.
Straight.
Vala Falstad, and then
Yeah,
you're like
straight.
basically
Falstad,
doing
yeah,
overkill.
Falstad, yeah.
Like the only thing you're really going to be affecting is the Odin attack speed.
And
That's
he
like
even
the
still
only-
has spells.
I'm just throwing
Yeah.
out ideas.
Yeah,
Corey,
It was cool.
alright?
No, hey, but that's a good thing.
I'm
you
coming
bring
up with
though.
a different way
We
to
saw
deal with
people
this.
running imposing presence against Illidan, like on Uther. They would take it on Uther just to deal with Illidan. So that was something we're not used to seeing. And that was buffed up 20%. So
Yeah,
now it's
from
a
30 to
50%
50.
A
reduction.
nice
Yeah,
buff.
30
Very
to
nice
50.
buff.
Yeah, it makes, and we saw it used a lot. You see Illidan, imposing presence. Just get it. You see Bloodlust, imposing presence. You see Illidan with Bloodlust, definitely get imposing presence. And another thing that Shane just pointed out in the chat is we actually saw Bile played a few times to some pretty good success. Putrid
There was
Bile
that
and
one-
Stitches.
Yeah, there was that one fight
Yep.
on the lower left side of Curse that I'm recalling where
By
he
the
like
Knights?
barely
Yeah,
got out
by the
because
Knights.
he just recently got speed buff on the Bile, or it was just enough to get him out with combining with the slow on the rest of the team. So that was cool.
It's a lot of peel. A lot of peel for the carries.
Yep,
Nice.
for sure.
Executioner builds. Still coming.
Jaina.
Stations.
Dana.
We're waiting.
Jaina!
What is your dog doing? He keeps standing up on a time. Look at it.
Whoa.
What is it doing?
Whoa!
He's battling.
He's
Is
battling
it
a ghost behind you, man.
protecting you.
It's my girlfriend.
Nope,
She's playing.
your girlfriend's a ghost.
She's a ghost.
Wasn't that a really terrible like Bill Cosby movie? Ghost Dad? Yeah, Ghost Dad, that was it.
Oh,
Ghost
gosh.
Girlfriend. It's the sequel.
Wow.
Well,
That's a really obscure reference.
yep, a little bit.
Ignore me.
All right,
Anyway.
let's talk about Sunday. Let's talk
Yep,
about
ESL. Vortex. We got to see more Vortex out of
Vortex did
ESL.
pretty well. What was really cool about them was that like every single beginning of every game, it was just like, man, Vortex is losing this. And then mid game, late game, it was like, Vortex can't possibly lose this. And so it was really cool to watch all those games. They came out, they did really well. Some not as well oiled as Maelstrom, but I think they did pretty well regardless. Glorious put up a pretty good fight, but you guys fell in the semifinals, and then finals, of course, was C9 versus SMG, and then SMG I think ironed out the issues that they had on Saturday, and it was relentless. Like Diablo's level 13 talent, like didn't even come close.
Yeah.
And after talking to SMG and then a few of the other teams doing scrims, SMG's this last, I guess, week, they haven't been having the best scrims. They've been kind of performing a bit below, but it seems like they're starting to get they're starting to get back into SMG
They're
swing.
they're really good players. They're really smart players. They'll be back up top. They'll be there doing good again. They're already doing good.
I mean, they're
but-
still there, but yeah.
Yeah, they're still there. I think it's a brand new game. It feels like this week.
Right.
It's especially for SMG.
Yeah.
Like the core changes. The core changes changed up their style so much, but they're adapting well.
Um,
You guys got back-to-back third place this weekend, correct?
Yeah.
Glorious doing well again.
Yeah,
We got a new support, Nirak.
I just like the
Next.
little knife at the end of that sentence there, Jared.
Yeah,
Again.
doing well now. I mean,
Well,
they
I
played
mean-
like crap before Syracuse.
Yeah, we had a rough few weeks. We were in and out of players. So we've got a guy named Murak who's really, really cool and really, really good. Very
Yeah, he's a
dedicated
cool
player.
guy.
Calling him Kieran. And it's
Yeah,
driving me crazy.
Was that like it was a few weeks ago? I think I remember messaging you because we bumped into you guys on ladder, and I was like, "Oh, we got a new team here," and you were telling me that like you were trying them out like new supports and everything. So that's cool to see.
Yeah,
He's a really cool guy. I like him.
Yeah, he's really dedicated too. He plays all the time. Like if you look at his account, he's got like 8 or so gold heroes now, like level 10.
Jeez.
So he's super dedicated.
That's double what I have. So yeah, overall, like that's a big change in the atmosphere of Glorious, and you guys feel it's helping a lot, and you guys practicing with that. Other than that, like you guys trying out any cool stuff you can tell us about?
Well, the whole Witch Doctor thing,
that's fine.
actually. Yeah, well, the whole Witch Doctor thing, actually, we were trying it out a bunch. We're doing its comp. It was like Witch Doctor, Kerrigan, Anub, Falstead. And we're like, this is gonna be pretty good next patch. This is pickable. Like, we can do this next patch. Like, and right when this patch comes out, Kerrigan's played all the time. Picked her band. Witch Doctor's the new thing. Falstead's amazing. We're like, okay, we can't get this anymore.
Feels the worst because you're like, we didn't even get to show it to anybody.
Yeah,
that would just look like has-beens. People just picking this stuff. And it's like, oh god, they'll never believe us.
And we're so hyped. We're like, this next patch, we got this awesome comp, and no, it's can't even get it.
That's
So, but yeah,
well, hey, I mean, at least now you guys are well trained to use those heroes.
True.
Yeah, true. And the Zebo's been one of my favorites forever. So I'm glad to see
God's
him.
here for life.
I remember when I first joined, the ZP wouldn't even let me touch the Zebo. He was like, fight me. He's like, no, you can't play
Standard ZP.
Yep. Like,
That guy. He's the that's right.
Don't worry, you're a strong, independent witch doctor who don't need no ZP.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying to find a link to the bracket, but I can only see upcoming events, no past events.
For which one?
For ESL.
I have it.
Oh, Corey's on it, man.
Link
He's
it
like,
in the stream chat.
In the stream? All right, I can do that. Boom. There it is. So, how have scrim?
I just saw CP yelling in chat. That's back when Diablo wasn't crap, censored, and was in every game. Mic drop. CP. I mean, not much has changed, man. Diablo's still top tier. But anyway,
So let's just look at the browser really quick here.
The browser.
Let's look at the browser.
The bracket.
Let's look at Internet Explorer. Is this the button I click to get to the internet?
Yeah, this is the button you click the internet. So just talking to Glorious specifically here. You guys played Hype Squad. I don't know much about them. Did they do
changed their
anything?
name quite a few times. I'm trying to recall what their previous entries were.
Anything
It's escaping
memorable
me at the moment.
from that game?
Honestly, I can't really remember very well.
Okay.
It was early in the morning. It was our first game. I know they're good players.
no.
They have a lot of good players, but
Yeah, no, these were all best of one up until the finals too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of rough.
Oh, that's right. That's good. That's a big part. So you guys went over EG.
they're-
And you had beaten them
Yeah.
for the third place match the previous day too. So
yeah, that was a long. Like they actually did the 3 DPS, and that's when we ran Zeratul against it, and it worked really well. Glarong like played out of his mind. Like he has a few highlights just of that game.
Guys,
But,
if you want to see 602 VODs, check out that VOD. I'll actually be watching that. I need to catch all
We
these
did-
VODs. Wait,
We did. I know we casted Tempest versus Wildfire, which was a pretty interesting match. Wildfire, of course, won, as you can see there. And then I think we went into Symbio versus Wildfire. No, we did. I don't remember. I think,
you did C9 versus Glorious.
yeah, and then C9 versus Glorious, and then we did like some double of one of the games, like one of the one end of the brackets. I think we did both those two games then. Like I think it was like we did. But anyway,
Did you follow C9 Vortex up to the finals?
yeah, C9
I think you did. I think you followed
for
Vortex.
the most
up.
part, yeah.
They're really good. Rajar, their carry is really, really, really good at Vala. Like I play a lot of Vala, and he's really great at Vala. I think they took it away at Bandit, or took it away SMG just from him,
Wow.
just because he's so good at Vala. He plays so much Vala too. He's a he's a really cool guy too.
So playing against the EG roster now, LZ wasn't there, but they're trying out 2 new players. How did you feel about their team as a whole?
They seem pretty strong.
Does it feel
The older
different? Does it
games-
feel like a different team you're playing against, like not the old EG, or?
It 3 DPS. They were all about it this weekend.
Really? Okay.
And it felt like a way different team with that. But they were very strong. Every game we played against them is just hard fought. It was never just like crush. It was back and forth the whole time. So
That's awesome.
Just
expect
for the
them
new
to be good.
viewers, Chiltech and
Kelax.
Telax
Felix.
are no longer part of EG. It's LZ, Faye, and Idra, and they're. I don't think anything's
No,
permanent
nothing's
yet.
permanent. No, Greg even posted in response to one of my things on Reddit that it's just those 3. They have no permanent 4th and 5th at the moment. And LZ
Wait, I'm
was,
sorry. Who
it's-
left?
Kelax
Kelax
and
and Chiltech.
Chiltech are no longer EG. It's now Faye, Idra, LZ. LZ was not there at all this weekend. He's in the Bahamas or
On a
something.
cruise.
Tropics.
Yeah.
Good for him. Hope he's having a great time. But even without him, EG looked pretty good, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what they're like at full force. Whatever they run with as their 5. And but you guys went over them 2 times in a row, looking good as well. And you guys got to experience Vortex. We talked about them a bit, but it's cool to have both Vortex and Maelstrom coming in because it's like, just 2 more strong teams, and I feel like NA has like a good 5-6 teams. But 2ARC, they actually took out 2ARC. Now we didn't see 2ARC Saturday, but Vortex took out 2ARC on Sunday, best of 1, but still.
Yeah, because they were the talked about team previous to anything.
Yeah, the
before
last
this,
month
so,
they've
yeah.
been number 2, based on results. So,
Word around the dog pond is that 2ARC's been struggling this patch.
well, it's a new patch. Sometimes some teams take longer than others to get a grasp on the changes, and that's to be expected. Especially when you don't know about stuff like experience changes and how to.
Especially with a meta overhaul this big.
Yeah, this is a big meta overhaul.
Huge.
It's really like a completely different game. Like I know a lot of pros are saying that. Like it almost feels like they have to completely readapt all of their gameplay.
I like it. It feels great to me.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I mean, at the beginning, I heard other pros saying the same thing. Everyone's just like, good.
Yep.
It's just better. And then here you are, a week out. Everyone has a decent feel of it. A couple tournaments played on it, and you're still saying, I like it. It feels better. That's
The team fights they're way more prevalent. Before it was backdoor all the time. Now it's like you got a team fight. It's way more fun and chaotic.
Yeah. I mean, I think I said this once, but I'll say it again. When Corey and I got ready to cast Saturday, we're like, every game's going to be 40 minutes. This is going to be the longest cast of our lives. Like, this is going to be so long, and it was far from the case, and the games were like, seriously, like the perfect length, super exciting. It was like, just spot on, in my opinion.
Whoa, are you telling me there's a difference between pro games and Jake's viewer games?
Just my games in general, bro. Just my games in general, man.
Well, I mean, that's really like the big thing, and that's exactly what I kept saying. Like when the whole entire pro scene did and I support this change too. Like I said, I don't like the changes to the core because it makes pub games last 40 minutes long, and then all of a sudden I got half the bloody pros from Heroes of the Storm to be like. Well, I like this change. I too like this change.
Good.
My name's Spartacus, and I think really somebody got the wrong message on that one. But it's like yeah, I got that, guys. It's like it's a good competitive change. Like I see that it's 5 minutes longer on competitive games, but in the pub it's like 20 minutes longer every game.
But that's something that will normalize as the players get used to it. The MMR gets stabilized as the game's out and it exists.
I hope so, because
It will.
I played 5 games with IRL friends the other day, and they were all 30 minutes.
Oh my god.
It feels like
Still
this patch
so
was like, it feels like this patch was like kind of half of a patch, and a patch that's coming up for the big one. And what is it, the 13th, January 13th? It feels like
for
there
the
were
beta,
more
it's beta
changes.
release.
Yeah,
So,
like they only threw in part of it or something.
fun fact, last week before the patch, I played a game, I think Faye was in the game, where we hit level 30. And so I hit level 30 on the old patch. It was 48 minutes long, and I've yet to do that on this patch. So anything's possible for sure.
How does that even?
well, that's a good that's an outlier. That's not the norm.
No,
but
I'm just saying it's happened.
Listen here, viewers. If you hit bottom of the barrel, that's Jake's game right there. So you're at the bottom of the crop when you have.
No, that match was
38-minute
sick,
games.
man. That match was sick. It was
I bet it
wonderful.
was sick, wasn't it?
I can't
That
stop
sounds
saying that
sick.
word suddenly. I don't know what it
Sounds
is.
so sick.
All right.
I
All
agree
right.
100%.
Good.
100%.
Very good. We have 30 minutes left, and it's time for our little guy to ask us some stuff.
Cooby's question.
Oh, is your roommate not asleep?
I don't give a shit anymore.
Money in the bank.
Yeah, we owe like what, like 90 skins at this point.
Cooby did the math, and Jared literally owes like $80.
No way.
Yeah, Cooby added it up. It's literally like $80 because it's been 40 weeks, and you swear on average 2 times a week. So you actually owe like $80.
Boom.
Can't wait to
Worth
collect.
every penny.
Once Blizzard allows us to gift skins, Jared is actually just poor. Like, he actually has to sell his shoes.
Yeah, when that happens, I'm poor, guys.
It's gonna be.
Okay, Jake, do you have that thing? Before we get into that,
Oh,
you have the thing.
I have the thing.
Okay, so at some point, there was a very impromptu Kubi's questions asked during one of my games with a certain group of people. They will remain. I'll name them once we start watching it.
Give me one sec.
We need to get the thing open. So basically, the question is, well, first of all, we were talking about Nazebo, of course, and his heroic, and things that can interrupt it. And one of the games was played, Chen was playing. I was like, oh, Chen doesn't have anything that interrupt. I said Barrel would, and I was, of course, corrected on that.
Oh god.
Barrel doesn't actually knock. It doesn't stun or knock. It just moves people. It doesn't like you. If you're channeling something, you continue to channel. You've just moved a different direction. And I was like, is there anything else in the game like that? Somebody else, maybe it was Kevin. I don't know. Said, oh, Brightwing's like that. I was like,
I could have swore Emerald Wind did suppression. It didn't
it's
actually.
okay. We don't have to argue about it anymore. We have.
No. This is bullcrap. You're calling
I'm so glad I get to see this as a third party. I'm happy now.
So
Let's see the video, Jake.
The
Play the video, Jake.
idea was Kev was very, very adamant
I
about
was like, no. it's
no,
not
this
like-
is how it is. Brightwing does not
pushes them,
disable
doesn't
them. It just
interrupt
pushes them. It doesn't interrupt. And Kev, being Kev, he likes to be stubborn. We're calling you out here. Kubi requested this
Look
video
how
be made.
sad Kev looks. Don't play the video.
Play the
Don't
video.
embarrass him.
Play the video.
Here's the video.
Uh-oh.
Watch this. Watch
Wait,
this.
Is it?
Oh!
Wrecked,
look at
that.
Wrecked Vala.
Look at that.
Wrecked Vala.
Look at that.
It breaks it.
It breaks it.
It breaks it.
So you owe me a drink, Kevin. Yep.
That was
Kevin,
fierce. That was ferocious.
Yep.
If I'm being honest though, I probably would have sided with Kevin on that one too.
I could have swore it was suppression. That's like what I thought.
I don't
like,
play Brian.
everybody
No,
told
that's why Emerald Wind has always been so good. But you,
Hang up on Jake. Everyone just we're done. No more Emerald.
Okay, so that's a fun little aside thing.
Witness.
Kev owes me a drink. End of that. All right, so
I love it.
all right. We were kind of talking about this earlier, and I was trying to get Jake to derail the conversation a little bit. I basically this Kubi's question is talking strictly about the extreme late game of Heroes, and we may have to tailor this discussion a little bit towards not high level professional play.
Okay.
But essentially, I would like to talk about the late game and how do we feel about it, etc. Because basically, right now, if you're playing on ladder at all, you're essentially hitting 25 plus minute games if you're playing on Cursed Hollow, if you're playing on Dragonshire or Garden of Terror. Other maps can go long, but more or less the mechanics in the map doesn't allow for it. So first of all, I want to get you guys' general opinion on the overall game length change. Starting with Kev.
I don't know exactly what I would like to do with the end of the game, right? Because I kind of feel like it's the design problem that it ran into in StarCraft 2, which is it hits like they designed StarCraft 2 to be like a 15-minute game, and if for some godforsaken reason it gets past 15 minutes, it breaks what their entire design intention was. Like, there's no way to continue to progress. Even in games like League of Legends, you have things like you'll have a item that is good for like the intermediate into later stages of the game. But in Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft 2, it's like once you get all your upgrades, you've got all your upgrades. So it seems like they need something more to be done with the late game, and I don't know what it is. Like, maybe level 30 you get a new ability. I don't know.
For all the
Well,
games to hit level 30.
I mean, what if they did something as little as like you hit 25 and your mounts get 10% speed boost or 20% speed boost or something? Does that break the game?
It speeds the game up. I mean,
Jared with a half-hearted pun. I like it.
I didn't even intend to do that. Kev's like completely inside. What? Stop.
Killing me.
Okay.
All right.
Those out
Longer
of
death
context
timers.
words.
Yes, my bad.
So Cooby's
Oh,
question
Yes.
is
Syracuse. How do you feel?
Longer death timers. Like I feel like there needs to be longer death timers at the end of a game, and more awareness of how weak the core is compared to what it was before at 21 minutes, because it's just weaker and weaker every minute passed.
Yeah.
So once people know that, and I think if they change the death timers to be a little bit longer, the games will be okay.
Do you think it has anything to do with the shield having been like what feels like doubled? And
Yeah.
people sort of
Shields.
have the perception where they're like, okay, we could actually go in, poke at the core, and do like 25% damage to it, but since that shield's there, we're actually not going to do any permanent damage to it. So they just stay away from that, and they're like, well, it's actually we can get more permanent effect by backing up and just taking a keep, or backing up and taking that fort that we missed in that other lane. So
The shield is scary. Like you're hitting it. Yeah, it's super scary. You're hitting it, and you're like, nothing's happening here. Like, and once you actually get the shield down, then you finally see it.
then
like
everyone
some
respawns, and you're like, okay, we got to back up. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we did 3% damage.
I think
but
just
that's
If
part
we're
of
not
the solution, right? That's part of the solution to making it so that the game doesn't end so quickly between levels 10 and 20. So is there some kind of middle ground that we can look for?
Uh,
Kevin?
If you're not talking about the high level of play, I
Well-
think the matchmaking is the biggest issue right now.
Okay.
No, I
Like
don't
a
think
lot-
it's matchmaking.
I played like 6 games with my IRL friends this last week, and all of our games were like triple assassin, 2 specialists, or 5 warriors, and assassin, no supports. Like just these crazy games that if our comps were just even remotely structured like how they should be, then the games wouldn't have been that long. I mean, that's from the multiple games I played with my friends. Every single one of them was because of comp that dragged it out.
yeah,
Guys,
maybe that'll change probably January 13th. I'm guessing. Hopefully.
It's true, but do we want to wait that long?
Hopefully.
I mean, I guess now is a good
Kev's
time
got-
to wait if we
Kev's-
have to
Kev
wait
wants
a
to
month.
say
Guys.
something.
All right, all right.
guys,
Okay.
guys. I'm gonna ask you a question real quick. Have you guys ever played a little game called Bomberman, Super
great
Bomberman
game.
on the SNES?
Great game.
Good one, I like that.
Yes.
All right, did you ever play like 4-player Bomberman?
Yep.
Like where you have like the little map. And you...
Yep.
What happens
Yep.
when 3 minutes are up?
Is that where the walls go in?
The walls start coming down,
Yeah.
and then bombs start dropping.
Yes,
What if
yes.
Heroes did that?
Stop.
Kev. Alright. This, ugh.
Like a lane would just
Ugh.
like clamp up, and then all of a sudden it's now ARAM.
I mean,
Awesome.
New custom games. When people make them, start making them. Make the map.
No, but seriously, I had nothing. I just wanted to.
I had nothing.
I was like, how
I was
do other
expecting
games?
Kev wanted to say something so bad, and then
Yeah,
I
he
was
was
like,
like,
"Oh, okay, Kev's got something to fix this."
No, but
Nope.
All right,
Like
Jake.
Bomberman.
General thoughts, Jake.
just
on,
in general, like, I mean, maybe if the other talents that are at level 20 were better, it would change things up. Like right now, it's just like you literally get your upgrade or resurgence or maybe bolt. But what if they had other options that did stuff to help accelerate the game? I mean, I don't know how it'd be game breaking, but Fury of the Storm is like pointless. Like, why would you ever get that? Storm Shield's good actually, so I retract that. But I don't know. Past level 20, what does it matter? And
Yeah. Kev said it earlier. Like once you get level 20, it doesn't matter if they're like 22 versus 20. You know,
Right.
it's like who cares? You know,
I
as long as you
guess-
have those 20 talents.
I don't know if they need to add more tiers of talents because
I think your stats should maybe. I don't know. It's
But-
it's a scary line to walk. Like if you start scaling heroes more as they get levels, and that just gets kind of crazy, and you can't add more talents because the talent pool already is kind of incomplete. You know, like Jaina's the only perfect hero we really have right now, so it's like, why would we add more talents and stuff?
yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
interesting
It's
because
tough.
like, I mean, you could consider doing a lot of weird things, but most of them would extend the game, and the core thing is they want to keep the game length short, which is great.
No, the core thing is that's the thing you have to destroy.
God, I don't even intend to do this.
Yes.
God.
I was like pointing. I was like, yes. He's like, core. Kevin's in there. I know he is.
The idea is, to keep the game length down, and I don't have a clue. I really don't.
I mean,
Well,
I-
let's look at what's causing it first, and then
Ignorance. Ignorance of the core is
You guys
weak.
No,
actually
you spelled resurgence wrong. So yeah.
I mean, that's
Maybe.
one of the things I have on my list, obviously. Like that's, and we.
I think it's just ignorance. Like whenever, like I did a Dragon Track game where the guy was just going from, like it was like we're at 28 minutes. He was going for the keep. It's like, no, you could solo it right now, even with all 5 other heroes beating on you. You would get the, you would like. I think it's just ignorance. The core is so easy to kill now.
Syracuse.
Syracuse has something.
What if you change it so you nerf the shields and it has more health, so you can actually see the progression of when you're like. That's the thing with bugs. When you're hitting the shield, they feel like they're getting nothing out of it. You're like,
That's
oh,
how
I'm
it
just
feels a lot of times.
yeah. I'm just tearing at the shield. What if you just nerf the shield and buff the health, so it feels like you're actually getting somewhere when you're killing the core.
Okay.
Because then that becomes a problem to the point where people who it becomes easier to kill in general because the shield regenning is part of the
Last thing they want is
Strength
people
of it.
diving early. That's the last thing they want.
Yeah. True.
Again, I think this comes down to a situation of not so much that I think we're attacking the problem in a different way. And I said this before. It's the keeps need to be stronger. Because you can blow through an entire lane and it's absolutely nothing. It's so easy to kill keeps, but then you run into this thing and it's just a wall. And it's not a wall in just everybody's head. It's a wall in, or it's not just a wall in like our heads. It's a wall in everybody's head where it's like everybody has just killed themselves trying to kill the core. It's an exponential scale. It's like this. It's like, okay, here's the difficulty of a fort, difficulty of a keep, difficulty of the palace. It's too much, and
Yeah.
people get scared of it. It's
True.
not ignorance.
I think
it's
you're
just
right.
The scaling of the lane is way out of line.
I think
Way out of line.
it would feel better if the keeps were stronger, and I think keeps are taken so easily, and then you get catapults, which is a big bonus. So maybe tune the core down, tune the keeps up.
An idea that Steve had brought up on Clairvoyance last week, and I thought this was a kind of an interesting idea, so I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts on it. He suggested that you basically revert the changes back to what they were before, but you make it so that there's like almost like a stacking buff on the core, and the more big structures you kill, the buff disappears. So if you take like all 3 keeps, then the core is really weak. But
So
if you've only
killing
taken
3/4
one,
is.
I don't like that.
don't like the idea.
Don't like it.
But it does kind of solve the issue of like just taking down one lane and then taking a team fight and winning, because it would still be a strong core. But if you've actually like done the work up to that point and taken all the big structures out, then the core
That
would
helps
be weak.
pro play, but for the low level people, that just goes back to I'm gonna use the Dragon Knight and clear all the keeps because
Okay.
it's got
That's
this buff.
That's a fair point.
That's true.
That makes it worse for the newer players. You know, that just makes it more. We need to sit in lane to gain all this uber experience, and then we got to kill everything, or we can't win.
Gotta get untelegated somehow, bro.
Even then though, I mean that runs into the problem of how many times, Corey, have you been in a game where all 3 keeps are down, and at that point, what time is it in the game? Normally pretty late.
Yeah.
So is that really fixing anything?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that the core is unkillable. It just helps. I'm not sure.
Well,
Just,
yeah, but it's still going to be as strong until you get into that late point of the game. So you're still elongating the game to this point.
Well, or maybe it makes it to the point where if all 3 forts and 1 keep has been taken, it's back to where it was.
I just want to reiterate, we're talking about not for the pro scene. We're talking about for
Yeah, that's
the lower end scene.
Because
Because he
seems-
comments in chat like that aren't aimed towards the pro scene. The pro scene's not. We're talking about that. We're talking about it
seem
for
to
the,
be fine.
the
Like,
newer
'cause
players.
none of the games we really saw over the weekend
No.
were
Let's,
really.
let's not
very
even
good.
let's not even say casual, not even say competitive. Let's say both scenes. Let's say all scenes because
Obviously, whatever changes you have to make, you got to take into consideration both.
Whatever is the most intuitive, and you don't really need to know anything special about it, is what is the better option.
Death timers, maybe. I think death timers.
I think
even
that-
maybe a
then,
little
death timers, because then that's just frustrating. That's frustrating for a player to die.
don't die.
Yeah, but
Thanks,
no,
Corey.
he's right. He's right.
It's the whole point of the game,
no,
right?
I'm
It's
already
like,
in,
it's like Counter-Strike. Like, when do people get the most frustrated? Is it in Counter-Strike? Is it in Call of Duty? Or is it in, like, Unreal Tournament? No, it's in Counter-Strike, because when you die, you are dead for, like, a minute and a half.
Okay, yeah,
before-
that's like throughout the whole game, though. We're just talking about late game death timers.
Yeah, but
So like you get to the
then-
point at the end of the game where you die and it's like, oh, I'm so frustrated, I'm dead. Well, the game's about to be over because you messed up.
Well, the game's about to be over in Counter-Strike because you messed up. But because you messed up, like, you have, like, this long amount of time that you're literally taking the game away from the player.
Yeah. I already get.
But that's
annoyed
not
at-
going anywhere. That's a part of the genre.
I just want
I
to.
know it's not going anywhere, but it's not. Wait, hold on. Let's take that sentence you just said. It's a part of the genre. Remove that thought from your head. Blizzard is taking this genre and they're making it fun. Don't look at it in terms of
Shots
that's what every
fired.
other MOBA does. We're looking at this in terms of what's wrong with the current MOBA scene, what's not fun, what can we fix about that?
I don't think it's possible to remove death timers from the game and have the game still function.
I'm not saying you don't remove death timers. I'm just saying,
But that's the
elongate
unfun
them.
part of the game, right? That's not what. It's not fun to be dead, so let's take it out.
All right, so
No, but I'm saying you have to have it, but like just elongating it so that it's more
Yeah, make it
punishing.
Just at the end of the game. That's it. Just at the end, where it's like, okay, the game.
Oh yeah, the
basically,
point. That's the most contested point.
yes. So if you messed up, then you lose. That's how it works.
No, it's not as
Oh.
cut and dry as like a fighting game would be. This is not a game designed for. It's gonna be fun. I already hate being dead at the 30-minute mark. It's like I'm out of the game for like 90 seconds. That's not fun. That's terrible. Whether
Literally
it's
just alt-tab
winning or losing.
Facebook and
Yeah,
maybe
like,
do a
what-
little bit of Reddit or something.
It'd be really hard to find like a good in between for competitive and solo queue in this game.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really hard.
There
is.
has to be
Huh.
punishment for mistakes.
Yes,
Doesn't
and we
matter.
already
Like,
have
the game,
that. The death
game
timer's already
isn't fun.
long.
Like you're basically saying like it has to be like happy-go-lucky, and then there's competitive. Like you can't have both.
Corey, let's be 100% honest right now. The market, where the money's going to come from in this game, is going to be casual. Look at League of Legends, look at Dota, and I'm going to say this, and people are going to explode all over everywhere. But League of Legends is a more casual game than Dota. But League of Legends has a bigger competitive scene than Dota for one reason alone,
Bigger
because
player
it
base.
appeals to casuals. Casual scene will drive no matter who or what the game's
Dude.
competition exists. It's gonna drive a competitive scene.
nobody's disagreeing with you.
No, I'm not.
I've been saying this for a
I'm-
long time. I
yeah.
think Heroes is going to be as big, if not bigger, for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
it's so
you're
much
right
more
about that.
accessible.
You're right.
Obviously, Kevin and I would prefer it to be balanced toward the competitive scene because we are part of the competitive scene. But we're keeping in mind the noobs, and
Don't
we have
call
to
them
have
noobs.
Yes.
The casuals.
the casuals and the casuals. Like,
VM.
obviously, I
So
would want it
VM.
to be brutal and very unforgiving for mistakes and stuff because I like the pro scene. But you got to keep in mind the little guy that outnumbers us by
The
like
big
10 to
guy. You
1,
got to
probably.
keep in mind the majority. Now, so I just want to point out.
No,
like,
you gotta.
Oh,
It's not
just
even. It's
step
not
back,
even the
step
little
back, step
guys.
back, step
It's
back.
all the way over. It's the shareholders. That's who you gotta appease.
All right.
You
So-
do that by appeasing the little guys,
Okay.
because that appeases their wallets.
All right. Just take into consideration, this patch has only been out for a week. Though the game might seem long, as people adapt, things can change. It's been 1 week. So, this patch could be the answer. We don't know that. 1 week means very little in terms of the meta because people have to adapt. And for all we know, nothing has to be changed. Honestly, it's way too early to tell. Because we go from having 40, 35, just 30-minute games, a 10-minute plus length probably on most of my games, whereas the competitive scene is we had many 15-minute games. So based on that, could be completely fine. That's my opinion.
I think the
We'll see what
opposite.
happens when people learn.
We'll see.
You know what they say? If it don't,
Don't do
broke,
it.
Shut down.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Kevin, please.
all right, fine, I won't. I'm just gonna call
All
it.
right, I
tricks.
want to hear it. Just get
We
it out.
got 10
Nope.
minutes. We got 10 minutes, so we got to do shout-outs still.
No, I'm not gonna do it. Continue.
Okay, fine. Just
Coops,
do it.
No. All right, I'm good.
you good?
Okay.
That's it.
I mean, we really didn't come to any conclusion or anything. It's just.
No,
it's a
I
whole-
mean,
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that there's definitely a knowledge transfer that needs to happen to people that are not at the professional scene. Like they need to understand, what the core HP is actually like after the 20-minute mark. So something like waiting and seeing what happens is probably the most reasonable way to look at it.
That could change when the competitive scene gets bigger too, and there's more sponsors, more guides, more stuff like that.
Just eyes on in general. Like half the people that are playing the game are just like, oh look, I have this new thing on my Battle.net launcher. Let me try it.
So
Yeah.
I
that
mean,
said, in 1 month's time, we'll revisit
yes,
this
that sounds
discussion.
good.
and we'll see where things are.
It's a
Mark
day.
your calendars, boys. 1 month. Corey's questions.
So
Whoa.
before
Corey's
Corey, who's
Oh,
that? Who's
disgusting.
that guy?
So before we go into shoutouts, we have a little bit of an announcement to make. Next week will be our final episode of the year. Of 2014, it will be our last episode. We're taking a 2-week break for the holidays. A lot of people are going to be traveling. It's the holiday season.
I'll be at home doing nothing, wishing Town Hall was going on. Yeah, we know.
I'll be with you, Zoya. I'll be with you.
Yay, we'll hang out.
So we're going to be taking a 2-week break for the holidays, like we said. That means that next week, the 16th of December, is going to be a very special Christmas-themed episode where it is our first ever drinking episode.
Oh, yeah.
All
We're
the
going to be
hosts,
drinking brew, of course.
Brew.
The very ominous brew.
yes.
Brew.
So it's going to be a very fun, very special episode. First episode that's a little bit more lax than normal, I suppose. It's going to be
Is it confirmed we're doing viewer call-ins?
no.
Yes. Well, oh.
No, yes, no.
It's not confirmed.
Yes,
It's
it's
not
confirmed.
confirmed. We're going to try to do viewer call-ins.
Listen,
I
Jake,
just
you're
need to
gonna-
make
you're
sure-
gonna- to make it
I
happen.
just need to make sure that my gear can make it happen.
Okay. Yeah, drunk
Hollowness?
episode.
I'm
That'll
actually
be awesome.
don't call me a casual.
That'll
Drunk
be awesome.
episode hype.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite. What is it? The league show back in the day. I had a drunk episode. It was my favorite ever. I had a bunch of like pros on it, all getting really drunk, and it was hilarious. I think it was called State of the League. They had like Saint
Yeah,
Vicious on it, just doing
That's what
jokes.
Gale said.
Yeah.
Yep, Saint Vicious was hilarious while drunk. So looking forward to
It'd be awesome.
it. I see drunk Zoya.
I'm gonna post the straw poll of what flavor brew I'm gonna be going for this next week. You guys are gonna have to choose for me on that one.
Perhaps there will be ugly Christmas sweaters, except for Jared because he lives in Texas. They don't have sweaters there, so
I ordered one.
I ordered one.
I did.
That
I
kind of
li-
ruins the theme of
Jake,
it.
you already have a sweater.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
just under your t-shirt.
Well,
Rip.
all right.
Grizzly Bear Jake.
So Syracuse, I just want to say thank you for coming on, and you know,
Thank you for having me.
why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Let's see. It's glorious_Sierra for my Twitter.
SYRA.
SYRA.
Yeah.
I'll be streaming soon. My girlfriend actually just got me a computer to stream with for
Oh,
Christmas.
congrats,
Yeah.
man.
Nice.
So I'll be streaming soon. It's Syracuse TV, and I'm on Team Glorious. So watch for us this weekend. We're doing all the tournaments, everything we can do. We're
Glorious.
glorious. Yep. ZP's team, as everyone
Don't
calls
call
it.
it that.
ZP's team. It's glorious,
ZP's
man.
team.
It's,
Glorious.
But
if anything, it's
thank-
Syracuse and Glaurong's team. Cthulhu gets
whoop,
no
whoop,
ownership.
whoop.
Your X2 new.
Oh my god.
I get ZP up.
Shots fired.
But yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
It's been a pleasure, man. We'll definitely have you
Yeah.
back.
For sure.
Thank you for all your insight. Jared, you know the drill.
Yeah. This Saturday I will be casting Kings of the Storm numbers something or another with Forecourt Jester. It'll be over on his stream, so if you guys have been missing my casting, which I know you guys have been bugging me to
I have.
cast, Syracuse has been bugging me. Check out Forecourt Jester stream. I'll be casting there with him. Follow me on IB Zoya. Follow me on Zoya TV. I should have my new case and heatsink, so this is the last episode you get to hear the jet engine in my background, so say goodbye. And I think that's it for me, guys. I'm glad we got to do a show with Syracuse, because I like him. He's a cutie.
He's a cutie. He's got a dog that fights ghosts. He's got a Yoshi. He's got some cool stuff. Kevo.
So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/sham2, SCHAMTOO, and youtube.com/sham2. Still working on that video. I haven't actually made that much progress, but it should be out by the end of, but before beta. I'm working on this really big tutorial video, which is going to be kind of general map awareness, and a rule I like to call count to 5, ... twice. Which you can see me fail at doing if you watch Salad Jake stream. But you
Salad
can
Jake.
also, this is what's happening starting Friday. I'm going to start streaming, but on a different platform.
MLG.TV/sham2 confirmed.
Yeah, MLG.TV/sham2 confirmed.
Streaming.
My title almost was Dead Game Connoisseur. Was
Free
my
week.
title for stream. Free week, yeah. Free week this week is going to be Rhaegar.
Yes.
I'm actually going to go record that right as soon as we get done because I haven't had time to do it, and I'm not going to have time tomorrow.
We're gonna snipe.
And yeah, I think that's it for me.
Kubis.
Follow me at the Cooby. And I think I will be casting King Saturday and possibly ESL Sunday. I don't think that's been completely confirmed yet, but I will be probably doing a lot of casting this weekend. Otherwise, yeah, I'm usually on Jake's stream, wherever that is. Jake, where do you find that?
Well, you can find that right here where you are right now. If you're watching the VOD, it's twitch.tv/SolidJakeGG, YouTube SolidJakeGG, Twitter SolidJakeGG. It's not Solid Jack Egg. People like to say Jack Egg. It is Solid Jake GG.
That's amazing.
You should not have said that, because now that's all I'm calling you. Solid Jack Egg.
It's the best day of my life.
Oh, I hate all of you.
I want really quick. Can I bring up that today is a really special day where someone went so far as to make a video to prove Kevin wrong?
What?
They made a video.
Kubi requested it, yeah.
That is so much effort.
He came over. I was playing
such a
Hearthstone.
silly
I was playing
thing.
Hearthstone before the show, and he's like, "We need to make that video now." And I'm just like, "Okay, we're doing it."
Okay.
Look at Corey. Look at Corey, man. He's the worst. This guy, so evil. That
Actually evil.
was a pretty good evil.
Oh,
laugh, too.
does his overlay say Omega Black Mage? It does.
Who's that?
Who's that? This is the Cooby.
Oh no! So it's at the Kubi on Twitter.
Oh.
That's why you're not getting any followers.
Oh, before we go,
We
I
got like
forgot
2
to
minutes.
say,
Go. Yes.
There was a Reddit post that somebody asked how many Abathur slaps does it take to kill an Arthas. I found out at level 1 it takes 64 slaps for an Abathur to kill an Arthas, accounting for HP regen.
Both level 1. Both level 1.
Okay.
Yeah, both level 1.
Guys, we'll see ya for our Christmas episode next week. Wear your favorite Christmas sweaters. Send us pictures to our Town Hall Twitter.
Send us what you're drinking.
Send us what you're drinking.
I know what Jake's gonna be drinking.
What's that?
Solid Jack eggnog.
Oh God.
Got him.
I'm allergic
Boom.
to eggs. I actually can't eat eggs. It's
Boom.
terrible.
Get 'em.
Syracuse, thank you again for coming on, man. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Definitely have your back. Looking
Alright.
forward to seeing your games this weekend in our casts and everyone else. If you've never watched Competitive Heroes of the Storm, you're doing something wrong. So do yourself a favor. Sit down this weekend. Watch Kings of the Storm. Watch ESL's tournament. Watch everything happening out there. And there's a lot of stuff in EU that we don't follow as much as we should. So we got to give, the European scene, they have some awesome events as well. So just go to Reddit. Find them there. We'll see you next week. Till next time.